and welcome to a new episode of the Game Informer Show. I'm your host, Ben Hansen, joined by Jeff Marchiafava.
Hey!
Best buddy of the world, Dan Tack.
Ready Player One is great.
There we go. Actually, Dan, we should plug that. Coming up soon in this feed, hopefully Friday, we're going to post a spoiler cast all about Ready Player One. It starts out without spoilers and then dives in deep because that movie is bat S, as some people would say.
But you don't say
swearing.
when it goes into spoilers?
We do. We make it very
Clearly
clear.
announced.
We make it very clear. Also, Jeff Cork's on the show.
Yeah, hi.
I heard a rumor
Yeah?
that this is the best damn show of the year.
This episode in
goodness.
particular is going to go down as a fan favorite.
For all time. This really is a fun episode. I'm very
Yes.
excited about it. Not only am I excited about this wonderful crew,
Uh-huh.
but the topics we're covering, the emails, the special guests that'll be coming on the show throughout it. It's a wild
You
ride.
got games, guests,
And guys,
and you've got to do a closer at the last
yeah.
segment. Don't let you forget.
thank you for bringing that up on air.
You're welcome.
Here's what we got. Also going on at Game Informer site, we should point out before we dive in
Is this
deep into this
GameInformer.com?
episode. GameInformer.com, yeah. A lot of baseball going on. That's right, boys. Baseball's back.
Mm.
Andrew Reiner is reviewing MLB 18 right now. He wasn't quite ready for the full thoughts on the review and whatnot, but he says there's a lot of annoying tech issues where he's like losing progress and servers constantly going down even after launch. So it's
So not a home run.
Sounds like a strikeout.
there we go, fellas.
Oh,
God.
Also, we did a new gameplay today video showing off RBI 18. If you don't own a PlayStation 4 and you still want to play baseball, that game it still
3 strikes, you're out?
seems pretty rough.
All
Yeah,
right.
let's just say it's a sliding around third. Like
Needs
a
a
juicy
designated
turd.
hitter.
You could add a letter. All right, everybody. Really, what's fun in this week's episode, right? Dan Tack, you ready for this crap?
I cannot wait to freaking hear this.
Far Cry 5 came out this week.
It did.
Jeff Cork reviewed it. Jeff Marchiafava's been playing a lot of it. Dan Tack, you've dabbled.
I've dabbled. I'm about 2.5 hours in.
Okay, I think I'm roughly in the same case as you. I'm very excited to talk about this. After Far Cry 5, the show just gets better. We have Ben Reeves coming in to talk about Detective Pikachu.
Oh, well, I thought I couldn't get any better, but now you've sold me.
Hey, no more sarcasm, because seriously, this is where the show gets amazing. We're also talking about Jurassic World Evolution.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, Dan Tack and I, weeks ago, quite secretly,
We've had to
we
keep this
tweeted
under
about
our
it a little
hats
bit.
for a while.
Yeah, we have a lot of thoughts on this. So Jurassic World Evolution is the new sim game from Frontier. If you're a fan of Roller Coaster Tycoon, they worked on those, Elite Dangerous, a lot of stuff like
Zoo
that.
Tycoon.
Exactly. So Dan Tack and I actually went to the Universal Studios lot.
That's right.
That's where the game was made, so it only makes sense.
It was a very old school type of preview trip, right? Where it's like, okay, we're going to have a giant T-Rex in this hangar, and now everybody gets to play the game, which was cool for about an hour each. So Dan Tech and I each played. We have a lot of opinions to share. But maybe most importantly at this event, they also had a bunch of Frontier devs there, which was great. And so back half of the show, we're going to be talking to the game director, Michael Brooks, and the game designer, Andrew Fletcher, and talking about maybe some of the things we were left a little bit confused about the structure of Jurassic World Evolution overall. We run through like different film scenarios that can or can't happen in the game itself. Also talked to, even before that, the game's writer, John Zuur Platten, I believe it's actually pronounced. So he actually wrote Chronicles of Riddick, the original Fear Effect. He has a bizarre game writing history. But we talk about what it's like to write lines for Ian Malcolm and, how much he's pulling from the actual Michael Crichton book, which is interesting. I love that he went back to the actual book for pulling for this game.
And speaking of Ian Malcolm,
This is
let me
it.
tee up.
This is the exciting one. Jeff Goldblum is going to be on this episode of the Game Informer Show. Jeff Cork,
Not
I
just
promise.
clips of him from previous appearances in movies.
Correct. No, this is like
my
actually
A super cut
him.
of him.
Yeah,
Actually talk to him.
You talked to him.
Yes, I sat down in a weirdo one-on-one with Jeff Goldblum, and it's that scary thing. Like Jurassic Park is my favorite movie of all time, and then this opportunity starts to bubble up, and then you have to actually come up with a game plan of what do you talk to Jeff Goldblum about? Like Jeff Marchiafava, what would you go for?
Life philosophy, probably.
Yeah. But then you just kind of like wax poetic for 8 minutes and use up all your time and then
Exactly.
they kick you out. And that's what your best case scenario is.
Yeah.
It's tough, right? So a lot of pressure on that interview. It was a quick one. Audio quality could be better. I wasn't recording it, by the way, but I think it's all right. So stay tuned for all that. But talk to him about working on Jurassic World Evolution, what it's like to...
It's such a pleasure. I'm so excited about this.
He seemed a little confused about what it was, but that's fine. I think it was the first interview of the day, so he was a little bit like, what is this? Is this for the movie? Okay, this is the game. This is the game. It felt like he was kind of getting
He
his
probably
ducks
has
in a
not done
row.
a lot of interviews, so you have to be gentle.
It was bizarre,
It was a
man.
great interview. I thought
Thank
Hanson
you.
did a great job. And in addition, you can also see some gameplay footage from the game available on the site today.
New gameplay today. We have a whole video showing off the game, but if you're watching the video version of this, you'll also see it there. That Jeff Goldblum interview, Dan,
Yeah.
it was weird. Was it not?
Well, I guess the viewer can just skip right to it right now if they want.
Well, they could do that if they want, but just like the setup to it, right? Because you're sitting in this.
It was more typical. We're used to a very different experience, I think, getting lots of hands-on time with devs. But for film media, I think it was more of a traditional sort of experience.
Is it okay? You got 8 minutes. You have to get in there, look directly at the camera, introduce yourself, do it this way, and then you can ask questions and then get out. Yeah. It's like we got to file people through this room to interview Jeff Goldblum and whatnot. And so I was walked through like 3 or so times of like, okay, do this. You're going to have 3 cameras. You're going to look at this, blah, 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 blah. And then sit down on the couch. And then immediately Jeff Goldblum's like quoting It's a Wonderful Life. And then he just starts going like, okay, Ben Hansen.
Running out the clock.
That's what he does.
Ben Hansen. He does, but the interview hadn't even started yet. And then he's like, we have 3 cameras. That's camera 1. That's going to be on me. That's Jeff's camera over there. That's your camera. That's a close up for you, Ben Hansen. This camera here, it's in the middle. It's kind of getting both of us. The wide shot, Jeff Goldblum? Yes, the wide. And he's just like filibustering about the 3 camera shots. Like, I got it.
The clock is
Exactly. It's like, we gotta go, Jeff. So it's a fun chat. So stay tuned for that. Okay. Holy cow. Let's dive in. Far Cry 5.
Yes.
Out this week. Jeff Cork, you and I went on the Far Cry 4 cover story trip.
It's true.
Jeff, you've been a big fan of Far Cry for a while now. It seems like 3 really set you off on a new wave of passion.
That's true. How'd you even know that about me?
I know more about you than you could possibly imagine.
That's creepy.
Overall, Jeff Cork, Far Cry 5, what did you think of this thing?
Overall,
Yeah.
it's fun.
Okay. You scored it a 7.5.
I did.
And some people might say this is a high quality game. Ubisoft is really pushing it. That score seems lower than expected.
Yes.
Not to start out too negative, but why is it maybe a little bit lower than maybe fans would expect?
I think the story and the way that it is delivered, not great. I think that ultimately, like, what we know about the game going into it is, it's taking place in Montana.
Yeah.
And there's a cult. Now you got me doing some Jeff Goldblum stuff. I wish you hadn't started talking about it, because that's all I want to do.
Beautiful cult.
Beautiful cult. So they have this cult that seemed like it was going to be very provocative, kind of dealing with religious extremism and, just religious thoughts in general, and kind of the whole militia culture.
They're not pulling any
political
punches.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They didn't even ball up their fist to make a punch in the first place in a lot of ways. I think the setup is there, but it just does not feel like they deliver anywhere near where they needed to. It doesn't really have much to say in the story. And there are people, and I've talked about this before, I feel like all I've done this past week is talk about Far Cry. But there are people who are going to be like, hey, it's Far Cry, I don't care about the story.
Right.
I just want to dink around with my friend, have a good time. And that's fine. Playing co-op is super fun. Like, I had a really good time with Fava, but once you do get into the story, which you can play co-op, the way that the missions are structured, the way the story is delivered is just very tedious and not fun.
I was confused about this. Dan, you started it last night as well.
I did, man. And I guess from what Cork's saying, I guess that after, because I wasn't impressed with the initial thing, but I was digging it. I was digging it. I was like, okay, I can't wait to go check out this crazy lady who makes these bliss things that, I like I'm big into like the cult story really has me going. Like, I like great premise, right?
Yeah.
But from what Cork's saying, it's pretty much I'm just gonna blow up bases and
it's a really great premise.
And
shoot
it
people
starts
for
it starts
X
strong.
hours.
Okay.
And I kind of felt that way too. You go through the kind of opening sequence, and it's like, okay, like they're going for it. They're going to do some interesting
They're
things.
singing Amazing Grace over and over again.
Of course. And it seemed like the cult was something that I wanted to learn more about, and kind of what inspired these people to join it and become zealots in the first place.
Yeah.
And it just does not deliver on that.
No.
Okay, so you talk about, the mission structure and stuff. From the beginning, was I misunderstanding things? Because it seemed to say, like, hey, the overall job is just to kind of liberate this area, and you can do that a number of different ways. And it seemed like one of the ways they said you could do story missions. So is it possible not to do story missions at all and just take out outposts and still effectively beat the game?
The way that it works is that you've got this meter, and you're liberating the area. Taking out outposts is a very efficient way to do that. But you could just plunk around, and convoys are always going around. You could blow some up and get supply trucks and raid them and free civilians. It would be a lot slower to that. They're steering you toward clearing out these outposts because they kind of act as a hub for the story and side missions, which kind of net you more XP. I guess, like, if you wanted to, kind of like people that one guy who maxed out his to level 99 in Kingdom Hearts without leaving the tutorial island.
Right.
You could probably, I did not really make much of an effort because I had to do this in a reasonable amount of time, but you could probably liberate a place without taking out an outpost. but it would just be very, very.
But you still
tedious.
have to do the story missions. It just didn't. It was
Well, the
like
way that it
dancing
happens
around
is
it.
you typically get kidnapped. So what will happen is after a certain amount, like you fill up your meter, and then you'll get like a notification saying you're being hunted. And then at some
What?
point, you could just be in the middle of walking around, or you're in a gunfight with somebody, and then the screen will get kind of hazy, and then you get abducted, and then someone talks at you for a very long time.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
Imagining a lot of Far Cry fans out there, they
Mhm.
say, okay, story, like you even mentioned, like I just want to mess around and have
Mhm.
fun. The Far Cry formula is still fun overall. And like story maybe is less important than the setting.
Mhm.
And out of the gate, I'm really into the Montana setting.
I
Maybe
think
like,
the setting is great.
oh really? Oh, you like that?
I
Okay.
love the setting. I just feel as though they don't deliver on the potential of it, because
Yeah.
you've got this. You're fighting these enemies, and they kind of dance around it. Like when the cult moved in, they bought a bunch of property and businesses, and people who lived there already kind of had a choice. You could join the cult, or you could get killed. And but then later on, there's like a
Spoilers.
for some of these people.
Yeah.
There's like basically there's who are like. So it just seems like they don't delve into what is it like to be a true believer of this cult, which I think is frightening and potentially interesting.
Yeah.
What is it like to be someone who was reluctantly pulled into it? You just have these barks of people who are like, get the sinner. You don't ever have anyone saying like, Jesus, I really hate doing this, but they've got my family. I don't have a choice. They don't
Right.
explore
Mhm.
what it is like to be in this world. You talk to somebody with these side missions, and there's some funny ones, there's some serious ones. You don't, at least the ones that I did, I did probably about 3/4 of them. You don't talk to anyone who seems like they are engaged with what is happening. It's like,
Sure.
hey, I've got these bobbleheads are going to be worth a fortune when this stuff clears out. So hey, find them for me, would you?
Well, what about the setting though? Like just starting it out, it seems cool to have something that feels closer to home. Like we're based
Mhm.
out of Minnesota, and I spent a lot of time in Montana
Mhm.
in my childhood and stuff. And it's like even just hearing like the bird sounds
Oh,
that I
yeah.
recognize. It's weird to have Far Cry
Yeah.
in this setting, and I realized it was just so different. I was having a moment where I was for a mission, I believe I had to like jump into the water.
Mhm.
There's a part of me that was scared. Maybe I played
Yeah.
too much Subnautica.
Yeah.
And I realized like there's nothing in this
There's
one. There's no
nothing-
sharks.
Yeah.
There's no
Yes.
crazy creatures that are going to take me out.
That's one of the problems with this setting, though, is like a lot of the previous Far Cry games. I think it was interesting because you had elephants and you had tigers and
yeah.
like kind of crazy exotic animals. Here you have bears. There's a skunk that will
Moose.
come and you go like, it's a skunk PU, and then the screen turns green. I mean,
I had that happen yesterday. Yeah.
they're working with what they have, but it just
Yeah.
is a little bit of a letdown. We went to Yellowstone this past summer, so
cool.
it's amazing to see how well they recreated that environment, and
Yeah.
like, to the point where we go to an area in the game where it's like this hotel that's near a geothermal spring, and I'm immediately like, I'm staying on this path because there are a lot of signs in Yellowstone. Don't do. And then someone's like, hey, where'd you get my suitcase? It's in there. I'm like, no, your skin's gonna peel off like you're zipping off a jumpsuit.
Oh, it just happened so
But you
much.
just jump in and it's fine. It's just,
Is that right?
It's this green water. It doesn't do any damage to you or anything. I'm like, all right.
You say the wildlife, is, maybe not as exciting as previous Far Cry's, but I still had a great time last night where I was driving around a sedan, listening to like some Christian music coming through the radio,
Mhm.
just like running a bear down through the woods and like ramming my sedan into a bear. Like, this is a newish Far Cry experience. This is a
But
distinct
it's
running
vibe.
over animals
It's
in
the
a
same-
vehicle?
It's the same
No,
Far
but
Cry
the
experience,
overall
just different,
vibe,
right?
right?
It's just, and I think that's what has been conveyed. I think not just by Cork, but by others, but is that it's more Far Cry, and it just which is a good thing in a lot of cases.
It's a series that I really like, but I think that like one of the criticisms that I and many others had of Far Cry 4 was, boy, it's awfully similar to the third one, which I enjoyed as well.
Mhm.
And this one is very similar to 4. So it's kind of like at a certain point, you can't just keep coasting by on delivering this same pretty fun, good time.
Yeah.
And I think that Ghost Recon Wildlands, in many ways, shut up, stole the thunder, because you had this massive open world with a ton of stuff to do,
Yeah.
helicopters to shoot down, portraits of people on the map that you were trying to attack. And then you get into this and it's like, all right, it's the same basic loop, which, it's not Ubisoft Montreal's fault necessarily. I would say that's more of a Ubisoft in general thing. They've kind of come up with a formula that works for them, but it's a real bummer.
And I would say that it's more Far Cry, but it's also scaled down in some ways, especially from a gameplay standpoint, where you don't have kind of the variety of assassination missions.
Mhm.
The hunting loop has changed to now where basically you can still skin an animal, but you just get coins, or you just turn it in for money. You're not using that crafting system to upgrade your holsters or whatever and stuff like that. And it it felt like something was missing from that. The radio towers are gone, which is probably for the better, but
they make a joke about it early on. Like there's a mission that sends you up a radio tower and it's like, I know what you're thinking. Don't worry. You won't be doing this the whole game.
And to me, Far Cry has always been about those outposts that you're taking down.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize until this one that I missed the other stuff as kind of a palate cleanser for when I got tired of doing outposts. Maybe I'd do an assassination mission or I'd focus more on hunting. And in this, it feels a lot more streamlined in that way.
So just fewer side activities overall or just less interesting ones?
I think that I bet if you were to break it down, it's probably a similar amount, but some of it, like the side missions, I think are nice because they're more fleshed out than they had been in the past.
Yeah.
But the activities are generally like, hey, go get my car and bring it back, or go to, there's a lot of these things that are called prepper caches, which are kind of like functionally they're basically like the environmental puzzles that the radio towers offered, which is the thing I liked about them. I think people may not have appreciated like, I got to climb another one of these stupid things.
It'll show me the things. Blah, 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 blah.
But it was always like how do I get up there? It was never just like Assassin's Creed has become, where it's just like hold up and then I will scale this thing automatically. And the prepper caches are kind of puzzles where it's like, okay, this thing is a bunker that's rigged to explode and I've got to get out before I burn up.
That sounds cool.
This thing is like, how do I navigate this underground maze that's full of water?
And those are the best
They're the
thing
best
about
thing,
this
yeah.
one. The best new thing beyond just kind of having fun with a co-op partner.
Yeah, but I think otherwise it's just like, okay, here comes a truck and there's a guy on a turret. Another, like, there's like,
get him, he's over there.
yeah, reloading.
There's a center.
It's just a bunch of white trucks. And after a while you realize I'm tired of shooting guys on white trucks and ATVs.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still fun to drive an ATV. Across Montana.
And there's always that car coming up with the big center thing painted across the front. I think I've got I made a stack of those in the middle of the road just for fun.
There's some weird feeling like going up against this cult where I feel like, I don't know if I've just watched too many of the trailers for Far Cry. I can't think of a specific instance. It just feels like this should feel completely novel, like the cult angle. But I feel like it's not as fresh or as new as maybe Far Cry could be. Like the cool thing about the Far Cry series that was really instilled in us from our cover story trip is like they pride themselves on being the punk rock group within Ubisoft, and they like choosing the unexpected directions. And Montana is one where it's like, yeah, it's a little bit unexpected. Like, oh, we're tackling religion. Okay, that's a big one. If you want to tackle that, it seems, I don't know.
Like I said, I haven't got to the point. Like I feel like I'm just at the point where they're going to stop giving me, like I'm not going to get any more cool information about these characters or the cult's motivations or any of this stuff. Like Quirk said, like I'm just going to go through the game, Far Cry style, and then it'll be done. And I'll be unsatisfied.
But there's going to be a lot of wacky moments along the way that are
There's
fun.
always wacky moments. I'm going to get those.
Yeah.
I have no doubt about that. But I don't think they're going to, like Quirk said, I think what he's trying to say is like they don't live up to the cult. You could do a lot of crazy stuff in a game with a cult. That's a great.
And this is a series that is known for doing crazy stuff. Like, I mean, Far Cry 2, your character had malaria, and you had guns that jammed. The third one, was kind of like, Voss was really interesting for a while until the other guy. The last one was Far Cry 4 was pretty fun. It had a cool setting, and it was interesting to be like a guy who was from that area rather than just a weird tourist or something. You had Primal. You had Blood Dragon. I mean, like the series goes crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that the DLC, it's a bummer if that like really fun, interesting twist on the formula is all on the DLC, which is I suspect that's what's happening.
Right, where it's like you're going to Mars. What are the other ones?
Zombies.
Okay,
Vietnam.
Sure. Yeah, that could be really interesting to see how they tackle it. They do something. They do something interesting with the cult, which I didn't expect, where they're kind of like changing the landscape. Like they basically have like a giant statue that's like the Rio de Janeiro statue of Christ, except it's of like the leader of the cult, where it's like, oh, this is Montana, but just tweaked in a slight way. Yeah. And then even I was surprised driving across the countryside to look at a mountain, and they made like the Hollywood sign, except it just says yes. Because is that throughout the entire game that the cult's into like
the theme of one of the characters?
Yes,
one of the characters.
The brother, is it? Yeah, because I've seen his little video where he's like, just say yes.
It's just Daniel Bryan yes chant. Like what the hell is that?
I mean, again, it's sort of like I think the whole cult angle. I think you can go a lot of places with that. Apparently they don't, but I was intrigued initially.
Yeah, and the way that they kind of do it is you have those 3 characters who will monologue at you during certain cutscenes, but then once you're back out into the world, aside from those 2 or 3 big landmarks, the enemies in those locations just act like enemies anywhere, and enemies like any other Far Cry game.
What tweaks to the formula did you appreciate, Jeff?
in terms of
Was there anything where you're like, oh, this is a nice addition, unexpected?
unexpected?
For me, just if I want to throw words
Sure.
in your mouth, I was surprised dicking around like the first hub town that you unlock that you can like shoot all like the mission givers and like these characters.
And revive them.
Well, that's the weird part. Yeah, it's like they just sit there and cry for a while.
'cause
Like,
you can-
oh, it hurts.
It's pretty easy to kill them by accident, which is why I think that's good because like I certainly killed quite a few. Like I was trying to save them if an errant stick of dynamite or whatever. Like everything blows up,
And
right?
everything
you
is
gotta
so
be very
flammable.
careful.
Yeah.
Including like, why is the cult making like their spires, their like monuments, extremely explosive? Like that ties into the storyline in some way, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it's a secret.
Kind of.
It's a secret.
But
I think one of the things I really like that is that the entirety of the game can be played co-op,
Yeah.
but it's kind of like a monkey's paw scenario where you can tell that the story is not designed to be. It wasn't written with two heroes in mind. So basically, what happens is you get to a story part, and both players see the same cutscene, and then when it switches to gameplay, you see the other person spring from your character model as he's like splattered out back into the
weird.
world. And the worst part though is like Fava played a ton of it with me,
Mhm.
and
Pretty
then
much the whole game. Yeah.
and then his character progress was saved, but none of the stuff that he did, like with the campaign or exploring the world or any of that stuff, carried over. So basically, you have to be a very generous person if you want to.
Yeah,
play with somebody
we
else.
played almost the entire campaign together, and then he beat the game by himself, and it's like, okay, I guess if I want to see that ending, I have to do everything again myself.
That's a
Get back to
frustrating
that
thing.
point.
Yeah,
It's
'cause
a tough puzzle.
When we did the live stream, he was the host as opposed to me. So then I open up his map, and it's just the most pathetic thing. There's just nothing has been revealed. All the fast travel spots we'd unlocked together, and it's I don't
You
know.
should be ashamed of yourself, Jeff.
I know.
Like Burks was pointing, like Ghost Recon Wildlands, to bring that up again.
Yep.
Like that was the game that seemed to have solved that problem of having two people working in a campaign together. Like your progress was saved. And I think that you need to do that if you're going to encourage someone to dink around in the world with you together for like a long time, because it encourages you to play together because it's fun.
Yeah. What about? It seems like the weakest part of just the first couple hours that I played so far was the AI buddy that was tagging along with me for a while. Like it seemed like he was all over the place. He talked a lot.
I'm going in.
Yeah. Eventually,
Be quiet.
Yeah. Eventually, to the point where I'm just like, I'm dismissed. I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm just gonna go off my own. Are they a good
not-
presence throughout the game?
Well, it's nice to hear a human voice because your character does not speak at all. Because
Sure.
you have the character creation at the beginning, you pick a male or female,
Which is interesting.
which I suppose is interesting. I would have preferred I like that flexibility. I like to make a character, but at the same time, I also like to have a character who feels like they belong in this world, that they feel invested in it, that they can respond to a yes or no question.
Just hey, rookie, get over here.
Yeah.
And that the characters respond differently to you too. There's
Yeah.
there's no point in role playing a character if everyone reacts to you like you are a blank slate.
Yeah, they do the thing too where someone will be like, "Well, you don't talk much, do you?" It's like, I get it.
It's not my choice.
Yeah.
It's not my choice.
And then like we were playing as like female characters, and then some characters are just like, "Look, man, all right, get him over there. We'll tie him up." And it's like, really, all the time you saved by not having me talk, you could have at least recorded. Whatever.
There are also a lot of very bearded men that look exactly the same.
Yeah,
Yeah, like all the cult members, not all of them, but they don't even try to, like switch it up. Like, okay, I'm in a situation with 5 guys and 4 of them are identical character models that I'm fighting.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
it's a uniform.
It's also, it gets more bizarre, which is transitioning to something that I'm very excited to talk to you about.
Yes, sir.
It's more bizarre when those characters are then pulled into the Far Cry arcade. Because like they keep the same accents and like barks and stuff, but like you can do anything in this Far Cry arcade. It's just basically a level builder, but a very, very ambitious one. And it's just crazy to be like in this sci-fi world and you hear like this Montana hick accent crying out from the night.
Montana hick accent by way of Canada. Let's be
Sure,
honest here. There's
sure.
a lot of boats.
Yeah.
Like, what?
So this Far Cry arcade, I really did not know what to expect, but I jumped into it last night and checked out what people were building in these multiplayer and also single player like maps and quests and stuff. It's crazy. Like the multiplayer stuff in particular, it's all battle royale.
They built that famous Counter-Strike map.
They have DE Dust in there. Yep, I saw a lot of Nuketown, but it's like it was in the early phases because we just started playing this game because it came out this week, and so it's a lot of like Battle Royale Test 3, DE Dust version 8. It's all still a work in progress. But I went to one of the Battle Royale maps and started out and I was like dropping in, It's like, great, this seems like fun. I want to see Far Cry's take on Battle Royale, like filtered through the community. And then I just splat onto the ground. Like my parachute didn't go off.
You gotta open it.
Yeah,
What's the key to...
I
tried spamming every button. I couldn't find it.
There's
X.
a perk you actually might have to pick up on your character for
Oh.
parachutes. Like it costs 2 perk points or something like that.
So I just kept splatting over and over again as I'm frantically pressing every button on the controller. Like, how do I get to the start of this battle royale?
Because I think all that stuff from your perk stuff does carry over to arcade.
Oh, that's
in most
insane.
cases, yeah.
Okay. But even the solo stuff was wild. Like, there's one game mode that you can make called Journey, where it has it like, I forget, they framed this one that was very highly rated in a way where it's like, it's basically Last of Us, everybody. It's like, all right, Far Cry editor, let's see what you can do. And it was surprisingly impressive. It was like in a downtown area, like overgrown. The environments look really good, to the point that I question if a Ubisoft employee made this specific, arcade map. But then you're just like going from one side to the other on this long journey, and it gets a little bit Serious Sammy with all the characters popping out and shooting at you. But did you dig around with that much?
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's really cool, and I can't wait for people who have more interest and talent than to make some cool stuff.
Yeah, I tried going into the editor because I'm like, I don't know how people are making this stuff. I got to see what it's like. And it's
intense.
It's intense. It closes out the application. I'm playing on PC, and then just pops up a completely different program that's Far Cry Arcade.
Yeah,
and you can start out just with a completely empty arena and start building stuff up, which was the way that they built this one map that I played in multiplayer, which Cork, you would love. It's just called Toys.
Okay.
And they just recreated this giant bedroom, and then it's just a multiplayer Far Cry match where, like, seeing a bedroom with like Hot Wheels tracks and stuff, it'll mess with your mind because it's just like an ATV from Far Cry. But when you look at it in that setting, it suddenly becomes so much cooler. Like, oh my god, it's a little ATV that I can ride around.
Little Person in a Big World is right up Cork's alley.
That's
his
porn
favorite
for Cork.
thing.
Yeah, you should check it out. It is just bizarre to have Far Cry basically making sweet babies with Twisted Metal small brawl.
Well, right.
Okay, maybe not that far, but so overall, fun time. But what should they change? Like, if we're a little bit sick of the Far Cry formula, like, what is left? What is the core Far Cry experience that they can't let go of versus what they should?
I would say find ways to make the outposts a little more interesting. I think that is it. But like the first couple of them that you go into, you're getting like, oh, I remember these. These are a fun thing to do. They get real old real fast. I find just like the campaign was kind of ho-hum. I really could not stand the way they were telling that story. I feel like their insistence on always keeping it in the first person, I completely respect and understand that, but I just don't think that is the best way to tell a story.
Yeah.
There's a reason that Hardcore Henry, how many other movies can you think of that have that? It's not a dramatic way to tell it because you rely on someone just to get all up in your face and
Far Cry's a lot of weirdos getting up in your face. Yeah, that is the Far Cry formula for sure. Jeff, what do you want from it?
You know, I really want to see what the season pass stuff is like because at this point, I don't know what they can do with the basic formula if they're still trying to be a realistic, outsider going into a strange place and kind of taking it over step by step. I would like to see a different structure, maybe entirely, or more varied activities that aren't taking from this formula that everyone is using at this point.
And it's a tough thing because I would assume you both and everybody here still has fun playing it.
Absolutely.
You can start to see the cracks and it's a little bit long in the tooth.
Yeah.
Tack, you gonna beat this thing? You can keep playing anything?
You know what? There's so much other good stuff to play right now, and Far Cry's not really like my jam as a series. Like I skipped 4 completely.
Oh,
I don't know if I should have or not, but
that's great.
It's always nice to, because I don't play these kind of games often. I think they're more interesting to me when I do go back and be like,
yeah, for sure.
You know what? I haven't been doing this whole like base capturing and field wandering and all this stuff. Maybe I will. I don't know. I'm not sure about it yet.
Yeah. 7.5 review on the site.
It's true.
Jeff Cork, God bless you. Hey, Jeff Markiafava.
It's my time.
It's your time to clap out of here, buddy. We got to get a new voice in.
Guys.
Love you. Ben Reeves joining the podcast. Welcome, sir.
How's it going?
Real good. You've been playing Detective Pikachu.
Oh, yeah.
A game that I feel like everyone has been making fun of and talking about for, it feels like about a year now with the Japanese release and
I
stuff.
thought they were just making fun of me. But
No,
it's the game.
no.
Okay.
It's actually the game. What ultimately is Detective Pikachu? Like, what is the genre outside of effing weird?
Yeah, effing weird's probably a good category. I guess you would classify it as a adventure because you're going around collecting puzzles. It reminds me a little bit of Phoenix Wright, if you've ever played those games, but not nearly as complex. It's actually pretty like simple. You're just like gathering clues by talking to people and investigating the environment.
What kind of crimes are we talking about here?
Like somebody gets just brutally murdered and there's blood everywhere. No, it's the overarching mystery is like you play this kid Tim Goodman and your father.
Subtle.
Yeah, your father is missing and he's a detective, but you meet up with his old partner Pikachu.
Who's wearing all
What
of his
the
dad's stuff?
His old partner.
Interesting.
He devoured his father. And,
So he was like the Watson to his Sherlock Holmes, and then he becomes Sherlock Holmes Prime once the father disappears.
Maybe, yeah.
I'm so confused here. How did Pikachu?
They don't quite go that far into it. Well, would you like to play the game, Dan, or do you want me to spoil it?
I'd like a spoiler of how Pikachu got canonically turned into a detective. He never does anything. He just says Pikachu and electrocutes things.
Well,
How
to
is
be
he a
fair,
detective?
isn't Pikachu like dog? Like it is a species. There
Right.
not like a
Yes.
particular.
Yeah, but there's not
Pikachu?
one dog on planet Earth that can become a
Right.
detective
That's
outside
my-
of a Disney
That's
film.
my point. This is super
outside
bizarre.
of a Disney film.
So did they explain why this Pikachu's talking?
Yeah. I don't know. It's a kind of a spoiler in the game.
Okay, don't
There's
spoil
a
it.
funny moment actually in the game where like Tim's walking out of the store to go meet up with Pikachu, and then he's like, "Hey, Pikachu, you ready to go?" And it's like, "Pika, Pika, Pika," and then he's like, "What's wrong? You're acting weird." And then Detective Pikachu walks up, and he's like, "Wait a minute, you didn't mistake me for this guy, did you?"
Oh, that's funny.
It's very funny.
It's basically that Rogue One K2SO joke. But okay, don't react in any way. But I'm going to look at the rest of the three here on the table.
Got it.
What are the odds that the spirit of the father somehow, through some contraption, got sucked into the heart of this Pikachu, and that's why that Pikachu is talking, and then they have a heartfelt reunion at the end?
0%.
I'd say it's pretty good, sadly.
Reeves, without confirming nor denying, does that happen in the game? He's blinking twice, everybody. Interesting. Is it fun?
Oh,
It's so the most fun I've had with it actually is interacting with Pikachu because like he talks in this gravelly voice. People wanted him to be played by Danny DeVito. Do you guys remember that?
Well, yeah, because they're adapting this into a film, and Pikachu's going to be voiced by Ryan Reynolds.
Right, which is the Danny DeVito of our era. The new DeVito, as I call him. But he sounds not quite like Danny DeVito, but he definitely has a gruff, like kind of. You can picture kind of like a middle-aged, short,
Middle-aged
He's
crime dog.
From New
crime
York
dog.
City.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He has
like,
that.
like McGruff.
It
You
is
guys remember
very
the crime
gruff,
dog?
Yes.
Yeah.
But that coupled with Pikachu, like just the most adorable creature you could ever imagine, is just like very weird. But I actually really like it. I like this character. He's obsessed with coffee. He loves sweets. Like it's kind of fun to watch this character. And he complains when you like run off without him. Like
So the
it's fun to
story
interact
is
with him.
surprisingly engaging, but then the gameplay is just kind of easy and meh.
Well, the story is pretty basic. There are some fun twists. Pikachu itself is like really fun to interact with,
Okay.
and then the gameplay itself is very meh.
What
Yeah,
are all the
you-
fun
you said
twists?
it.
Yeah, tell us every fun twist.
All of them.
It turns out Pikachu is a mass murderer.
Oh.
Yeah.
That is a twist.
I have a
That-
question.
The hat he's wearing is actually the skull of your father.
Yeah,
Oh, like Cubone.
That's right.
that's fun. So the game has the biggest. Well, maybe the Yarn Yoshi is quite large, right? The really big one. That's got a big ass amiibo,
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
and you're playing on a Nintendo 3DS, right?
That's right.
That's weird, right? You got this giant
Super
amiibo, and you
weird.
got to just slam it into the.
Yeah, so I don't know if
3DS.
you've seen it. It's not quite as big as that Yarn Yoshi, but
But
it's like definitely like
I would say
double
second
size.
place, yeah.
Yeah. It's like the biggest outside of that I think
Yeah.
I've seen.
Because
It's
they're really
just a
trying to.
massive.
They're
It's like
thinking like, hey, people like this console because you can take it on the go. So here's a burden
It's
if you're playing this.
it's larger than an actual mouse, I think, is what the Pikachu is.
Yeah, it's life size.
Wow, life-size little
quote-unquote,
electric
maybe?
mouse.
Yeah.
Is it weird that they would make that big amiibo? Do you think they're just trying to push it because of the movie?
Maybe because
and
they're
really
already-
building it up as a brand?
They already
Like,
have Pikachu amiibos,
so they need to
so
do
they're
something
like-
completely different.
and I think like, well, putting clothes on him clearly isn't distinguished.
Right.
I honestly though something about Pikachu wearing a hat I like in Pokemon Go when it was Christmas time you
Mhm.
get Pikachu with a Santa hat. Like,
Smash Brothers,
I
who
really
wears the
like
hats.
That. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was fun.
It is cute. So would you recommend it to Pokemon fans? Like, it looks better than you'd expect on 3DS.
I think visually it looks probably one of the best Pokemon games on 3DS visually.
Yeah.
Anyway. I think it looks cool. I think if you're a huge Pokemon fan, you probably would dig this actually because of Pikachu and because like the world. It's kind of fun to explore the world as a non like Poke trainer, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Like you get to see like different locations than you normally would in like a normal Pokemon game.
Right.
So that's
right.
fun.
And if you're a fan of like Tim Goodman, you'd say it's pretty good.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. If you're a huge Goodman fan, yeah.
All right.
Tim O'Kaman. All right, Dan Tack.
Yes.
Jurassic World Evolution.
That's a game.
We went to Universal. We played roughly an hour of this thing. Spent a lot of time with the devs. There's interviews coming up in the back half of this show. Look for it on our YouTube channel if you're watching this separately. Jurassic World Evolution. Here's the thing, because they said, what do you guys want to play on ahead of time? And Dan Tack is the PC editor, and he's a very smart man. And so he says, I'll take the PC build, please. And obviously that's the way you want to play this game, even though it's coming out for PS4 and Xbox One. And so for the sake of the community and understanding what it was going to be like on the console, I said, I will hold a controller to play this sim game, this park builder. And the controller felt better than I expected.
Which is good.
Yeah. It seems like they improved the UI a lot since Zoo Tycoon, which was an Xbox One. Maybe not the last sim game they released, but a big one not too long ago at the launch of that system. But
I really appreciated that we started this conversation about Jurassic Park with like, oh, I held a controller in my hand.
well, I think it's
With right
exciting
to-
that this park builder is coming
It's
to
interesting.
consoles.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good point to make. Is that it is coming to both major consoles as well as PC.
I'm glad
which
we
is
all agree on this then.
unusual
Yeah.
for like a simulation game.
And it controls much better than I expected. Like, it's a little bit finicky for like trying to place a building and stuff on the controller. It'd be nice to have the precision of the mouse. But overall, it was much better. Like, to the point that it's like, maybe I would like to sit back and play this game with a controller. It's not going to be a make or break situation overall. But Dan Tech, your actual hands-on time with the game, what'd you think?
Yeah, so it was a curious experience, and obviously we just with an hour taste can't really make any critical evaluation right now. But
It's a tough genre to demo as well, you know?
oh, almost impossible, because by the time you're done with an hour, you've barely got your feet wet, right?
Yeah.
You're finally like learning how to do things. Overall, though, you know, it's interesting to have sort of what is a sandbox genre sort of put into this now structured format where you have 5 different sandboxes that you basically all need to complete with some sort of objective that we don't know.
These are the 5 deaths, the 5 islands, which is exciting as a Jurassic Park fan that we're going to go from island to island, and then in theory Nublar as well. Like, they've hinted there's something with Nublar, and you can see on the mission map that there's totally a thing there.
Oh, and that's the last one, huh?
It very well could be.
Yeah.
But all we know right now is that you have to go through 5 progressively more difficult islands and make parks there, and we don't know why the difficulty increases, but it's inferred to be environmental and other hazards and other changes that occur on the other islands. The island you start on, which is the one we played, is very traditional. It's like, oh, you might get a tropical storm.
Yeah.
That's about it. It's pretty bare bones. Pretty like, okay, you're gonna beat this island really easy.
Well, from what we saw, at least, you know, we don't know how challenging it might
Correct.
be. But yeah,
But it seemed like it was the tutorial island, more or less.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, sort of imply that other islands would have dangerous day-night cycles and other.
well, not even day-night cycles. They said there
Eternal
actually isn't.
night.
Yeah, there isn't a day-night cycle, which is kind of a bummer. For the sake of one of the islands, they want to be night at all times.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And then other challenges that can occur. Like,
Where is that island?
we're gonna? It's one of the 5 deaths.
Yeah, you got to go there, dude.
Sounds cool.
And then other challenges like tornadoes and you know, potential defection from your security agents, perhaps.
Dinosaurs.
Right.
And
Do
of
you
course,
get to see the guy like leaving the island with the briefcase? and, like,
they did say maybe, but
Really?
it won't be Nedry.
Yeah, there can be like problems with the staff along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll be as detailed and cool as that.
Yeah, I
but
don't think we'll get that. but-
yeah.
Did they talk about the timeline, like when this game takes place?
Well, in theory, it's coinciding in some way with Fallen Kingdom, the new Lost World movie, which is coming out this summer, right? Because they were very hesitant to talk about Fallen Kingdom at all. You can tell Universal's marching orders were like, don't reveal anything about the film. But I would imagine that's why they're cagey about Nublar as well, because in theory they go back to Nublar in that movie, and so maybe they tie in some way there.
They didn't say anything explicitly, and they couldn't. But my read on it is that there will definitely be some kind of tie-in with Fallen Kingdom.
so which island did World take place on?
World is on Nublar. It's the first to go back to Nublar since the first movie.
Oh, okay.
So 2 and 3 are on Sorna, which you're also going to go to, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Did they go back to the first island in 3?
No, in
Jurassic Park
3 they're on Sorna as well. Yeah,
But I
the
thought
Site
they
B.
did go back. No, not at all.
I don't believe so. No, I think they're
Alright.
pretty well stuck there. But Reese, I'm happy to have you in this conversation because you reviewed Planet Coaster.
Yeah.
For Game Informer, which is built on that engine. That was one of the striking things, is like just the amount of camera movement and freedom you have feels a lot like Planet Coaster in that regard. But did Planet Coaster have like missions or anything like that along the way?
No, actually, so that's one of the things that it was a sandbox game kind of to a fault. And so that's why which some people probably dug just
For
building
sure.
roller coasters, and that was fine. I kind of wanted a little bit more of a carrot on a stick or a reason to sort of build some of this stuff out, and that's why I'm excited for this game because it sounds like they're doing that, but maybe going too far with it. Is that
So
what
so
you would
what?
say, Dan?
No, I don't think they're going too far. I'd compare it to changes that Civilization has made in the last 5-6 years, where they have sort of incentives to make you do other things that maybe you want to go down this path. We'll give you a little extra reward if you do. So that's kind of the same thing. It's going to put things in front of you that say, maybe research this dinosaur. And you can say, you know what, I don't care. I'm just going to build up my island and try to win anyway. Or you can do it and you'll get some nice rewards. So it's up to you at the end of the day, but it will be beneficial to you to do those kind of things.
The one thing I'm curious about is, because I'm a huge Jurassic Park fan, and even kind of a zoo fan, of all things.
Well, this game was made for you then.
Yeah,
Reeves
but-
goes to a lot of zoos on cover story trips. He loves visiting zoos.
Can't get enough of them. Let me tell you. But all that said, is creating a padlock with dinosaurs in it as cool as building a giant roller coaster?
Reeves. Paddock.
Look, man.
Even Nedry knew it. But yeah, what we got to play was interesting. We only had about 4 or 5 dinosaurs available to us with the early game genomes, which you basically search out through the course of the game and unlock new dinos and ways to build them out. But it was, again, for the one paddock, you can make more than one paddock. But
It's
we
paddock.
whatever.
Padded bear.
Reeves, it's a good question, right? I mean, it is fun, especially we can simulate going on the roller coasters and stuff like
Right.
that. I mean, they steer a little bit more in that direction. You can make the gyrosphere from Jurassic World, and you can actually get in and drive the car around. You can fly a helicopter around, and there's something just dorky as a fan about even just looking at the dinosaurs. Okay, we're gonna have a vantage point here, so you can look down and see the cool T-Rex paddock down here. And I think that's gonna be a thrill for Jurassic Park fans.
They do incentivize you to do it too. You're going to have times where maybe you don't have enough money to build your latest, you want to build a huge hotel, you don't have the cash on hand. You got a little time while you're waiting for your numbers to tick up,
Okay.
So you get in a car, you go and take pictures of your dinosaurs, you get paid for it. So it lets you get up and close, sort of get in there with your dinosaurs in the pen.
And
chill out with them.
Yeah, and they have different areas of expertise, right? So it's security, entertainment, and science.
That's right.
And so the entertainment path, maybe there's more options there for making something more funky in more of a amusement park style way.
We didn't
strictly.
We didn't go the entertainment path, and we wouldn't have unlocked anything substantial in our playtime anyway. But the entertainment path was described to me as the traditional theme park sim experience. So
interesting.
That's
No dinosaurs.
You obviously are still going to be doing dinosaurs as a big part of your thing, but that's probably going to open up more options for other kinds of entertainment and
All right.
Compared to the science, which one of the big things is they want to keep it completely pure. They want dinosaurs as is. They don't want any genetic modification, because that's another huge thing that's kind of fun in the game is you can actually go in and you're filling the sequence holes in the DNA with different things tweak your dinosaurs, and you can eventually modify them in fun ways where it's okay, I want to up the defense of my Triceratops because they keep getting attacked by other dinosaurs and being brought down.
And that's one thing I didn't think that was that amazing, actually. I'm pretty excited for this game, but the genetic modification sort of didn't seem really, I don't know, a big part of the game from what we saw. Just making them have more defense or making them look a little different. It didn't seem as major to me as what they could have done with the genome system.
Yeah.
But it's early on, so you think
it
could,
is early on, but
evolve.
See, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think safe money's on yes, it'll get more interesting.
All right.
Can you give him feathers?
That's a great question. I bet you can. I
That's
don't know.
that's probably likely.
The way God
actually.
intended.
But I think it's an interesting thing. I wonder if they keep it true to Jurassic Park, right? Where the real dinosaurs do have feathers, but if you modify them in the Jurassic Park style to appeal to what people think they want from dinosaurs, then they wouldn't, I don't know if they'd go that detailed.
So I think they're going to stick with the Jurassic Park canonical dinosaurs for this one, since we are going to have the Indominus Rex in there.
Yeah,
as one of the big guys.
Jeff Cork, you watched a lot of this game, the new gameplay today.
Mm-hmm.
Did anything surprise you from watching that session?
Not really.
Yeah.
You guys had talked about it in the office a fair bit, and it was honestly what I was expecting. It was a park builder with Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
I think I was surprised maybe the most at how ugly the one dinosaur you made was. Had looked like a horse had been through a ringer.
And what did you call that dinosaur, Mr.
It's not
Hansen?
important. Check out the video if you want to see Dantec get uncomfortable. Yeah, I think so. I think there's a certain amount of I'm very happy that Frontier is the developer making this game. They know sim games. It seems like the perfect pairing, right?
Right.
But there's a certain amount of that's about what I expected from a Jurassic World style park builder with dinosaurs, and I'm still, even from after our hour demo, it wasn't enough time, right, to really sink into this, but I'm still waiting to figure out like what those magic ingredients are for just generating stories, like something XCOM, games like that are so magical at, where it's like, I want to know all the things that can go wrong. I want to know what story I'll be telling after my play session, because the short session we had was basically, I was trying to cause chaos and I destroyed all the fences in my park, and then a big carnivore ate an attendee, which was fun.
That was really good. You should check out the video to see that.
But I want to know like what the struggle is, like how hard the systems and the chaos of nature is actually trying to work against you, and you have to fight. And it's just, I hope it can surprise you along the way with what can go wrong with your park.
I hope that like you've got the element that Dan was talking about where you take photos of the dinosaurs to get money.
Yeah.
I hope that they have a ton of different activities and animations, so it's not like, okay, I'm gonna go take some pictures of the Triceratops. Okay, he's yawning again. He's scratching his back against that rock.
He's effing that one real hard.
And I mean, like just like a couple of canned animations for everything. I don't expect that it's going to be, hey, you Pikachu,
put on a dumb little hat on
or
a
anything super
surfboard.
crazy like that.
Well, hey, I'd be into that.
but I hope that stays fresh a relatively long period of time, because that'll be a bummer when. Obviously, the dinosaurs are a huge part of this game, right?
Yeah.
It's not just a park simulator. It's Jurassic Park. So if the dinosaurs are kind of a dud to watch, that'll be a big disappointment.
Yeah. I'm very curious, like especially seeing the other islands and other dinosaur possibilities opening up along the way. It's coming out June 12th. Digital
That's right.
only for like roughly a month. The physical version's coming out in July, which is odd, but the way they position it is like, well, Frontier's always been a digital first company. So I didn't know that, but
Okay.
all right.
For PC players, they're not going to bat an eye. They never even expected to pick it up.
Yeah,
They wouldn't even know that it's not out.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah. What'd you think about the VO in the game, Dan?
I
More like BO.
I like I adore Goldblum, and I adore the Ian Malcolm character. So those worked, but again, I felt myself struggling to understand why he would be involved in this project whatsoever.
And this is, look, if you're a Jurassic Park dork, which most of us are, we dive deep into that in the interviews coming up later in this podcast about like, why would Ian Malcolm do this? In fact, Dantec, would you like to hear from Jeff Goldblum himself about why Ian Malcolm would do that?
We did.
Okay, well, I think listeners might expect it right now. So
I'd like to hear.
Well, there we go, Ben Rees. Without further ado, here is our interview with the mastermind, Jeff Goldblum. Enjoy, everybody. Jeff Goldblum, welcome to the Game Informer Show, sir.
Hanson. You're so nice to do this. Thank you very, 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 very much.
It's so wonderful of you to come by and be involved with Jurassic Park again. What's it like to return to the franchise?
Yeah? I mean, I have the best associations with my early, connection and Mr. Steven Spielberg and those movies, and now I'm back in the saddle.
For Jurassic World Evolution.
I'm back in the saddle for many things, but certainly for the evolution. Yes.
Don't forget about the evolution.
No, I haven't. I couldn't.
So we heard a little bit of your VO in the gameplay we saw so far.
You did?
It sounds good. I'm curious, what is the direction in the booth now compared to what was it like with Spielberg in the early days of filming the original film?
The booth? What do you mean the booth? You mean the direction for the evolution? My
yeah,
stuff?
for evolution, yeah.
Compared to what he was doing
Yes.
then? Well, it's a different animal a little bit. I'm
I'd
playing the
imagine.
same character. He, of course, was directing those movies. And I just did the Fallen Kingdom movie directed by J.A. Bayona.
That's right.
There are differences. I don't want to be too inside baseball. Wonderful directors, all of them, the people who did Evolution. Wonderful. Steven, of course, a genius, J.A. Bayona. I'll tell you a difference between, Evolution was just my voice.
Yeah.
So, but it was a nice chance to sort of revisit the character, and there were wonderful, smart people working on it and devised little things for me to say in the same vein. They kind of caught the same idea, but to do variations of it. And then when I did the movie, this current movie with J.A. Bayona, I visited the sound stage in London, and they had a big sound system playing big dinosaur sounds for the action sequences when people were supposed to be running away from dinosaurs, and music that was, shook the chair and everything. Back when we did it 25 years ago, Steven Spielberg had a bullhorn, and he went, Jeff, react to this as if it's a dinosaur. That's what he was doing. So it's different.
Yeah.
So it's upgraded itself.
How often do you think about how weird it is for the idea of Ian Malcolm to be providing commentary and help for the game, right? So he's trying to coach players through the building of a new Jurassic Park. Shouldn't he just be screaming like, "Don't do this, you idiot! My friends died."
Well, yes.
Okay.
You may well say, and you'll see in the game, I'm, a reluctant, helpmate, aren't I? And mentor. I say, I don't know. You say you want to make this park. I was never for the idea of the park anyway. I think I reiterate in some way. And it's still a bad idea. If you're certainly after money making or using animals, especially once extinct animals, misguidedly reanimated in order to sell tickets to some cheesy entertainment or, heaven forbid, for some militaristic leverage, I don't want to give anything away, then shame on you. But look, for the purpose of the game, you may get a kick out of this. You want to be right there in the park and make the park.
So Ian Malcolm, he's not held prisoner. He's getting a paycheck. So he's like, I'll record this commentary and help people build a new park.
Yeah, certainly nobody makes Ian Malcolm do anything. No, he does all things. And so I think Ian Malcolm has done this so that can sort of lay in some conscience Easter eggs, right? I'll say, go ahead, you young game player. Go ahead, build that park, but watch out.
He's the Jiminy Cricket for the players. Is that the idea?
I'm going to live to be 105. Remember that song?
No, don't.
Oh, yeah, there was a song in the original where Jiminy Cricket appeared in Pinocchio.
Yeah.
Pinocchio. And sure, he had a song. I think he had a song in that. I'm going to live to be 105.
What's your history with video games? Do you have outside of Jurassic World Evolution, do you have a favorite game of all time, even going back to the arcades? Do you ever play games in your trailers, anything like that?
Skee-ball.
The greatest game ever.
I think so, too. I like skee-ball. Yeah, skee-ball, that's what comes to mind. What else? I'd like to throw a ball and make some clown get dunked in the water.
Ooh, you should check out Steven Spielberg's Boom Block if you like throwing things. He actually produced a game back on the Nintendo Wii, and you could throw stuff. I think you'd really like it.
You're an expert. You know everything about everything.
Thank you.
I'm not surprised about this Mr. Steven Spielberg. He wears many hats, doesn't he?
Very talented bloke.
You ever wear a hat?
Sometimes, Jeff
I'd like
Goldblum.
you've got a heck of a head of hair, but I'd like to see you I'll bet you wear a nice driver's cap.
Ooh, I'll have to wear it more often, I believe. I have a question for you. It's kind of a blast from the past.
Blast from
do you
the
remember
past.
in the PlayStation 1, there was a Lost World video game, and you recorded a secret ending for it. Do you remember this? It's 1 minute long. I have it here if you want to take a look here.
I always
sir.
like to see footage of myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little bit, 90s. I hope you don't mind.
I like everything about the 90s.
Okay, great.
Voice print. Are they seeing it?
Okay, do you remember filming this?
It's on. Hello. If you can hear me, congratulations. Way to go. You made it through. You spent all that time, and now you're done. You did it. That's quite an achievement. My gosh, you looked a 20-foot carnivore right in the eye, and you've lived to tell about it. Well, you are something. Thank you for sticking with it, for not giving up. That is really something. Now you know what you should do? Turn the thing off, for heaven's sakes, and go outside. Breathe the air, take a walk, call a member of the opposite sex. You know what I'm talking about. You have a whole life out there. Get the stink blown off you.
Get the stink blown off you said, Jeff.
I made that up.
Turn off. I mean, really.
That's an old phrase that my parents in Pittsburgh.
Hello. Okay, I go.
Yeah.
Do you remember filming this? Was it on the set?
I remember everything. I do remember that. I think that was in Hawaii because we're on a beachfront there.
Right.
And the only time that's during the second movie.
Yeah.
With the great Julianne Moore.
Oh,
and
lovely.
Vince Vaughn.
Lovely.
Yeah. And my daughter, wonderful daughter. I saw her recently. She came to a jazz concert. And
Really?
that actress, yes, she said, you know who I am? I went, oh my God. Dearest angel. We hugged for what seemed like hours. Yeah, that was something. So anyway, we're there in Kauai once again, and I think, yes, they said, hey, what is this? Video game. Okay, turn the camera on, and I, did my stuff. Get the stink blown off you. I still say that to my young son, Charlie.
It's very good.
I say, that's what my parents used to say. Hey, why don't we go outside and get the stink blown off you? It's a good one.
Does they trust you with the filming to hey, just go, just improvise the Malcolm? I assume it wasn't Spielberg behind the camera for that.
He's a little too.
I understand.
It must not have been. No, somebody must have done that. But yeah, no, people seem to trust me to, extemporize, and I seem to be quick on my feet.
Absolutely. Well, hey, Jeff Goldblum, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Ben, I can't thank you enough.
Oh, you're a real hero, man.
The perfect balance of moisture and dryness, a very nice pH balance in that mitt there.
Oh, my heart, Mr. Goldblum. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Jeff Goldblum, everybody.
Hey, what a delightful guy.
That was weird. I hope you had a good time. And by the way, we have some outtakes, I guess you can call them, from that interview. Post credits on this episode of the Game Informer Show if you want to hear more Goldblum being Goldblum, which is really what he's good at.
How uncomfortable were you during that interview?
I eventually got more cozy because once you realize that he's just a silly guy, it's just a matter of knowing what question will I ask where hopefully he doesn't just ramble on for 6 minutes. And so in the beginning I was pretty nervous, but once you realize that okay, he just kind of wants to play around, then I was a little bit more comfortable. But as he mentioned in the interview, my hand was very sweaty and very gross when he shook it at the
Hanson was
end.
sweating bullets for sure.
Thanks, Tack. Hey everybody, you want to move on to emails?
Let's
Yes.
do that.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And welcome back to the Game Informer Show. Some great emails that people send in to podcast@gameinformer.com if you want to offer us feedback, thoughts, news stories you want us to comment on, questions about the industry, questions about us, questions about films. Maybe not too much, though. Not too much. This is a gaming podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Send it into podcast@gameinformer.com. The four of us are going to read through these wonderful emails.
Quick question.
Yeah.
The best one. Will we send them
There it
something
is.
real nice?
I have good
No.
news. Jeff Cork?
What?
No way
Our
that is-
favorite email of the week. We
Yeah?
shipped that person out something very nice.
What?
Very
Something-
nice.
I think if I saw the total of how much we spend shipping out these items, I would explode and my career would explode.
Yeah, probably.
But we do it because we love the community. So please send stuff into podcast@gameinformer.com. And I want to stress again, we get a lot of emails every week. There's so many amazing ones that we just aren't able to squeeze in. So thank you to everybody that writes in, but I've culled it down to some that seem vaguely answerable.
You should see at least 2 every week that are no good too, right? Don't lie.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
there's 2 S-heads every week.
All right.
But
That's
not
not bad.
anybody listening right now. They're all great.
Oh, no.
No.
You guys are all
There's no
great.
doubt.
That's pretty good, actually, numbers wise.
Here we go. Anthony from Malvern, Pennsylvania. Malvern says, I just wanted to expand on something Remington mentioned last week. Remember a friend of the show, Remington
yeah.
Memories?
Remington Steel?
He was so confident
What's
and
his last name
comfortable.
again?
I forget.
It was a really cool name.
Novak. Remington
Oh,
Novak.
that's a good
Yep,
name, too.
Friend of the show. He said last week he mentioned it. He was talking about the cultural impact of Fortnite. He was talking about how bizarre it is that kids are playing Fortnite on their phones in his classroom. He's a teacher, you guys. And I too have noticed its growing popularity in odd places. I run a pizza shop, and we often get prank calls. Stuff like asking for a boneless pizza, which is very funny.
That's pretty good.
Or
Never tried that
asking
one.
for ridiculous toppings like M&Ms. A new trending prank is emerging, however, and I've concurred it with other stores.
Is this irresponsible what you're about to do right now,
This
Ben
is
Hansen?
because you're actually promoting it. You realize that. This is
All right, pizza guys,
This is
we're
like
sorry.
Battletoads all
Pizza
over
guys,
again.
I'm sorry. Kids are calling, and when I answer the phone, they just say, "Hey, do you want to play some Fortnite?" The first time this happened to me, I agreed to play with the kid, but he wouldn't give me his gamer tag. Anyway, I thought this was relevant. Bye. Apparently, it's a rising prank.
But it doesn't make any sense. What is
Look, I don't know, man, but if you're a pizza delivery person,
Look out.
Hey, honestly,
look out.
And if you're a
lame
kid-
prank, guys.
Yeah, if you're a
I mean, that
kid,
wasn't
do
even good. You don't
prank.
even get there's no response. There's
The
no...
response was you get a pizza guy asking for your gamer tag, and then you've got to think on your feet no.
Then you better go catch it. Dear Ben and crew, during the Far Cry 5 live stream that we did this week, Reiner mentioned that, and he seemed to think that the Testicle Festival sign was a joke, comparing it to those in Grand Theft Auto. I have some important information to share. Testicle festivals are real. I was passing through Montana last fall and I saw a billboard for one in Clinton, Montana. I was just a bit confused when I saw that for the first time too. There's a Wikipedia page here for your more info. I don't want that. But that's from Jamie. Yeah, Rocky Mountain oysters, man.
Oh, is that what it is?
I'm so confused.
Why do they call it a ball?
They should call it a ball.
A barn ball buster.
In the West, the American West, we have an international audience, but in the West, the main thing people consume are bull testicles.
No, that's not true.
I'm from Colorado. That's what we had every night.
Yeah, they
They
had
eat
like
them like
cereal.
apples.
Saturday.
That's not true.
They rub a bowl ball on their shirt and then they bite into it like a giant apple.
First. Yeah. Leave one on the teacher's desk.
That's right. They fall on their scientists'
Hey.
heads.
A ball testicle a day keeps the doctor away. That's what they say.
Yeah, you've never heard of that, Dantec? Rocky Mountain oysters?
Everything you see here is in your kingdom, Simba.
You've heard of Rocky Mountain oysters though before.
Right.
I've heard of yes, I've heard of oysters.
Rocky Mountain oysters?
What's
That's
the
code
difference?
for testicles.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, remember that next time you're looking at a menu.
I
Remember
learned
all
something.
those Rocky Mountain oysters you've eaten over the years?
Well, because I don't eat
You
oysters
insist
either,
on ordering at every
Flashback.
restaurant.
Oh, these on the half shell.
Boom. Jeez. All right. Woof.
Full English Rocky Mountain oyster.
I never had it.
There we go. Corey from New Hampshire says, "Hey, crew. I'm hoping you have Jeff Cork on this episode.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Zing.
Look out, buddy. Because the question I have is good for him. Since he reviewed Yakuza 6, my question is, can I enjoy Yakuza 6 for its goofy and weird side bits, even if I'm not interested in the main story? Does the game offer enough side content that if I bought it, I'll get my money's worth?"
Here's the deal.
Yeah.
Christopher?
Corey from New Hampshire.
Oh, boy. I combined those 2 words. Or 3 words. No, never mind.
You're close.
Corey Hampshire is his name?
Yeah, Corey
Corey
Hampshire
Hampshire.
from Robin.
Yeah. The story is a big part. You can skip cutscenes, and there's a ton of side content. I would say it's worth it.
It's good stuff. Now,
The
Yakuza
end.
6 is that weird thing where you eventually scored it. We read your note on the podcast a while back, but you didn't have a score. But you gave it a 9.25.
I did.
But it's also the weird thing where it's not coming out until April 17th? Something like that?
Yeah,
Middle
why
of
not?
April.
That's so insane.
Yeah.
That's the most obscene lead time I've ever seen. That's...
I'm curious why this guy thinks he's not going to like the main story.
I don't know.
Is
Maybe
the
he
main
was really
story
good.
Yeah.
Maybe he just saw like that trailer for the minigames in Yakuza 6, which seems so fun and so wacky that he's like, I just want to play that game, which
Yeah.
I guess is understandable.
Yeah. What he wants to do then
Yeah.
is convince one of his friends to beat the game for him, and then he can do kind of like it's not a new game plus, but just like the adventure mode, which is just the straight up dinking around side quest stuff.
Ah, okay.
Ding.
So Yakuza 6 is that weird thing where it's good. We'll try to remember it when it comes out, but keep it on your radar.
Yeah.
Mark it on your calendar because it's damn fun. Let's see. Michael Fulton from Kent, Ohio says, "Hey, I have a very specific question for Jeff Cork.
Wow. Man.
Because I know he really loves the specific concept of being a tiny person in a normal world."
Oh, that old thing?
Henson made this one up.
I love it.
during the
He
break.
says he wants me to pitch this scenario to you. Are you ready? All right, eyes closed, Jeff Cork.
Eyes closed. Okay.
Hands out.
Hands out.
No, that's not true. All right. Imagine this.
Okay.
A new Chibi Robo game is announced for the Nintendo Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Game Informer gets to do the exclusive world reveal as its cover story. Jeff Cork is sent to Japan to personally interview the developers and be the first in the world outside the dev studio to play the game. Jeff Cork sits down, starts to play the game with the president of the company.
Oh my lord! This is the
He's
weirdest
right there.
story. It's
He's
right
a suit
there.
and tie. He's breathing on your neck. As the title screen loads up, the president makes an offhand remark about how the whole time Chibi Robo is not in fact a game about a tiny robot in our world, but actually takes place in an alternate dimension where humans have grown to massive proportions, meaning you play as a regular-sized robot
Oh,
in a big
dear.
world. How do you react?
Oh boy! I hope I probably have just thrown up everywhere. Just got the nerves. I got the president of Nintendo himself right
If
there.
you learn that,
Uh-huh.
does it change your enjoyment of a game where it's a little person in a big world?
If everything is scaled up exactly the same way, I
Right.
think I'm fine.
Really, no difference. I
Yeah.
feel like emotionally it has a difference.
You think so?
I think it would feel different.
You think if it's big
Ben
guy in
Hansen
the
wrote that
bigger
question.
world?
Well, I think that's basically the exact Far Cry scenario that he was describing, because I'm not imagining that those Far Cry characters are shrunk down in that arcade mode.
I'll have to check out that.
But you're
that
a normal
mode.
guy in a big world, and I thought you liked that as well.
I like him reversed either way. I like vastly disproportionate
Right.
sizes.
You like
Okay.
the proportion size difference, differential.
Yeah. So
Makes sense.
big
that-
guy in a little world, little guy in a big world.
Nintendo, was that Nintendo who sent that in? Was that
Yeah.
their way of pitching us that story?
Wait a minute, why didn't I say it? Michael Fulton from Kent, Ohio. I misspoke. It's Nintendo.
Oh my gosh.
And Nintendo says keep up the great
Wow.
work.
And
oh,
P.S.
thank you,
it's-
Nintendo.
P.S. It's Ziplash 2. Oh,
Speaking of which,
Yeah.
we're really diving into this topic. You watched a new trailer for that game that Imran talked about a while ago on the podcast?
yeah, that Gundam one.
Gundam Breakers?
Yeah.
Which is exactly that. You play as like a toy Gundam, like in the toy shop.
Yes.
You were salivating over that trailer this morning.
Yeah. It looks super fun. little tiny robots in a regular sized world. You kidding me?
How much did you like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? Is that your favorite movie?
Not really.
Really?
It's fine. I like playing video games about that.
Oh, okay. So
That's such a specific
any
thing.
other media.
I like
not-
Toy Story. I like that, but that's not why I like
It's
it.
just a good movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, that's fair. Forrest Lastman says, "Hey GI crew, did you know that multiple developers, Shuichi Murata and Kei Watanabe, I'm sorry,
Flawless.
who worked on Overblood 2, also worked on Zelda Breath of the Wild?
Oh.
I did not know that, but that's probably why it's so good.
Finally, they brought their dream to reality.
Also, speaking of Overblood 2 talent going on and directing, future things, I'm playing Ni no Kuni 2 based on Joe's recommendation last week's show. That game was a delight. Having such a good time
Is
with
it?
it. Yeah.
Did you play the
All
first
right,
one?
I'm in.
I started the first one. I didn't really get into it, but the second one it's very easy, but it's just so comfortable and friendly to players. You can just fast travel anywhere you want. You always have an objective marker. It's just a whimsy delight.
So, Dan,
That
you're
sounds
not going
awful.
to take Joe's recommendation, but you'll take Hanson's? what it
Well,
is?
actually, now that he just said like everything is spelled out, he likes the kind of stuff that I don't like.
I want my hand held
yeah,
until it
and I don't.
bleeds.
So
And you just like
maybe I
somebody
will.
to take a hammer and just smash down really
Right,
hard.
instead of
on
my
all
hand
your
being held,
fingers.
I'd like, all my fingers broken going in.
Yeah.
That way.
Now that's gaming. Ian Miller from Satan's Country. Holy cow. Bellingham, Washington. He says, "Dear..." Oh boy. People are really
Do
stretching
you not
with
read
this.
these ahead of time?
Well,
He
I
does. He
didn't
totally
read
does
this
it.
one. I didn't read like the introduction. He says,
Ah.
"Dear Bean and the GI Dab Masters, what has been some of the craziest coincidences, lucky moments, or magical happenstances that have happened to you? I personally live for these kind of moments and would like to hear more from you guys." Crazy coincidences in your life. That's a good
Well, this
question.
is a coincidence. This is a good story I always tell, though. That is along these lines.
Okay.
I never would have gotten the job here unless I ate at Subway on a specific day.
Ooh, how does
Because
that
I was
work?
cleaning out my junk mail folder on my phone just because I was so bored. Eating lunch alone at like a fast food location.
Yeah.
And there was the Andy's email. It went to my spam folder for some reason, and I never would have otherwise.
You never would have found it unless you were just
Correct.
sticking around?
Absolutely.
You just never searched through junk.
I never do. It was only because I was
Wow.
just chilling and had nothing
And
else to do.
you
with
went
my
to
phone.
Subway and immediately thought of trash.
No,
That's why you went to your
I was just
trash.
bored and cleaning out my phone while I ate the sandwich. But I couldn't have done that. I feel like it was a McDonald's or something
Yeah.
greasy. I couldn't have had my phone in one hand and the sub in the other.
Do you want to thank Jared Fogle on air? Or?
I would definitely not.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well,
but I
there-
thought that
there
was
we
an
go.
interest. That's just a really weird thing.
That is crazy. I mean,
And
obviously,
he
like,
refuses to eat anywhere other than Subway.
I don't think I
praying for a new job. Yeah, it is funny. I mean, just how careers happen. Obviously, how all of us land at Game Informer. I'm sure there's a million tiny little details that
Sure.
lined up along the way, right? Where it's like, if I wouldn't have seen Phil Kohler's retweet of Andy tweeting that they're looking for video people, I never would have found that. But
Sure.
I had one like similarly, like with the job here. I grew up in a small town in Alaska, and like my best friend in middle school and high school, her little brother ended up, unbeknownst to me, after he graduated from high school, moved to Minnesota and worked at Game Informer in a job that when he left, I kind of was like, what's Chris up to? He's like, oh, he works at this video game magazine and he's leaving. So then I got in touch with him, and then because of that, I was able to get a job interview.
oh wow,
Didn't get the job then, but then was contacted a couple years later because
and
they
was
hired
resoundingly
Brian.
rejected.
No, because they hired Brian Vore. I think them posting that may
Oh.
have been a formality kind of thing.
Interesting.
whatever.
Okay. Effing Vor.
Ugh.
I'm gonna go
Yeah,
with Vor
Vor.
Cork. Not
Come
in
on.
my world, dude. He doesn't listen to this podcast, right? Hell no.
You'll never see that.
Yeah, this is a different one, but it's very stupid. But I'm obsessed with it. It's the most recent Hail Mary, where there's a game that probably is not worth recommending, and I won't. That's on Steam called Super Seducer, where it's like FMV, and it's like, hey, how to talk to women. And I was with my buddies, and we're drinking. Like, this might be a funny thing to
I
play.
played through the whole thing.
Excuse me?
I played through the whole thing.
I just wondered why your eyes
Hold
were shaped
on.
like hearts.
You did really?
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
It was not good.
It's weird.
I don't know why I got like banned. It's like it's not a good game.
No, definitely not. Anyways, but it's just setting up these scenarios of like, oh, here's how you talk to women, right? It's basically dialogue trees, except it plays out all the wrong options, sometimes for like laughs, which is like a little skeezy. It's a little skeezy at times, right? But there's a moment, Dan, I don't know if you recall, where the main character is at a bar and he sits down and he's talking to this attractive lady, and he goes, I like to sing songs. You want to hear me? You want to hear me sing a song? You remember this? It's early. It's like in the second area.
It's the second level. I know.
Yeah.
But
And he said, "You want to hear me sing a song?" And I turned to my buddy and I said, "He's going to sing John Lennon's Imagine." And then he's like, "Oh, I think this song goes like this. It's by somebody named John Lennon. Maybe you've heard it. It's called Imagine. And then he sings Imagine.
That's
and
weird.
I ran around the house in a victory lap. I was so excited. Like, of all the songs, the fact that I would call John Lennon's Imagine.
So, yeah, I never got he never sung a song in mine. He did some Strawberry Fields routine instead.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was after. To be fair to me, that was after. I didn't
Sure.
have a setup of Strawberry Fields.
Well, there's only like 3 songs in the world, so the chances of you guessing
Yeah.
the right one were
Yeah.
Why would
3.
he choose like Beatles or Beatles affiliated music?
It's a weird game, Corey.
I don't know.
It's why
He's like, I got tons of money to get the clearance for this, right? They're notoriously easy to get a hold of the rights.
This is a game where like one of the first people you talk to says, "I'm going to feed the squirrels" as like her activity that she can't stop to talk to you for.
Well, it's fair. He's a creep. And
like
yeah,
getting
you should
brush
keep
off,
walking and
I
go feed
suppose.
some squirrels. Yeah.
Who feeds squirrels though? Do you ever do that? Like,
I think Kim Wallace is something about
But you-
squirrels.
yeah, she's scared to death of them.
Oh, I thought they feasted on her or something.
Because she keeps feeding them. She keeps putting food into her bed, and they keep coming to eat it.
Dear Yeah and the GI gang. You can just say hello.
These are great.
He said-
what was the other one? Bean and the Dabbers.
It's not important. He says Trend Orchestra is a musical group on YouTube that does orchestral covers of video game music. Some of it sounds better than the originals. Sad thing is they only have like 5,000 subscribers, and for the quality of their work, the channel seems unknown. That's Trend Orchestra, by the way.
So this is just a plug for them.
Is it? He says, oh, this is Blaine Erickson, by the way. Oh, I'm sorry. Shout outs to Blaine Erickson. This is Ian Miller that's writing in. But he asks, Ian here, he says, what do you think is currently underrated or undervalued?
Of anything?
Of anything.
Oh, anything in the world.
Anything in the world.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Exploring your trash email.
Right.
apparently. Yeah.
Yes,
People don't
undervalued.
Go through that spam folder every now
You
and then.
never know how much good stuff. Just comb through the Groupons. You'll find it.
You know what I think is, I can never find this, but it's the peanut butter version of Twix. You know what I'm talking about?
Sure.
Peanut butter Twix.
I never
Delicious.
find it anymore.
You gotta
It's
go
like
to-
the best version
You
of
gotta go
Twix,
to
I think.
Amazon.
And apparently Amazon has it. So
All like
it's
the
all
weird
over the
candy that I
place.
ever want to get, I always go to Amazon. It's there. It's
Candy
it's
off
a
Amazon?
problem.
Wow.
I
It's a
ask you
problem.
not. Every time I'm in a gas station, I go look and see if they have peanut butter Twix.
I'm like, where can I get that hot popcorn that I like? Because I can't find that anywhere. Oh, they got it.
Hot popcorn?
Yeah, man.
Isn't all popcorn
That's
hot?
wearing,
I
like,
like,
hot pants
spicy
or what?
stuff. You know?
Spicy popcorn.
Yeah.
Wow, I had no idea. There's the classics of like, hey, Double Fine Adventure, I think is super good. It's free on YouTube. Amazing access to Double Fine. It's an amazing documentary. Titanfall 2's campaign, I still feel like is underrated. A lot of ass, I feel like is underrated and underappreciated for that crazy level of access.
Or the
and
old
just,
Twitter account.
no, not the old Twitter account, which we won't talk about. But no, the actual like dev interviews and stuff
Right.
used to be on Nintendo's
Yeah.
site.
There's actually a lot of really good stuff on there.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing that they open the doors like that. And most recently, I would say Annihilation, the film, I think is absolutely amazing. It's just about everything I love about movies, and I feel like it hasn't quite hit that threshold of
No, it
like
hasn't.
cemented as a classic, but it absolutely is a sci-fi classic in my mind. Anything underrated, Jeff Cork?
Being nice.
Yeah, hell yeah, man.
I'm good with that one. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
And maybe like before you like repost something on Facebook, just put forth just a tiny fraction
Google
of
it.
like your intellectual capacity to think, is this story just total bullshit?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fair. Kyle from North Carolina says, hey, I just found out about this today and I couldn't have been happier. I played Pokemon Go for a few months, but couldn't really stay into it because despite me being in 6th grade when Pokemon Red Blue came out, I never played any of the games and I wasn't into it. But recently I saw that they announced Jurassic World Alive, which is the Jurassic World, Jurassic Park, Pokemon Go style AR game, right? He's wondering what we think about it.
And we should note there's a what, a Harry Potter one coming as well.
Right.
Oh, gotta note that. Yeah.
So I want to note that just because speaking of these ARG games at a bigger scale than just the Jurassic Park one, like it's just like they're gonna have to do something different than Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
And the
big time.
screenshots looks extremely Pokemon Go. And so it's actually, we interviewed the head of games at Universal while at this Universal event, and he was talking a little bit about that. Reeves, I think you recently read that, but that game is actually going to be co-published by Ludia, who made like they made the Jurassic Park iOS builder game, which was kind of a free-to-play cash sync.
Oh, wonderful.
But I got into it way too much. But Universal is looking to get more into games overall, license their stuff out
Sure.
more. So expect more stuff in this vein, and hopefully then bigger console games on the scale of Jurassic World
I can see
Evolution.
like Pokemon Go works thematically because there's the act of exploring the world and capturing Pokemon. I can see Harry Potter the same way because it's got this weird magical world that is beneath the surface of what we normal people see. But just to throw a license that doesn't make any sense conceptually, like Oh yeah, incidentally, here's a giant dinosaur you can't see for some reason. It'd be like, here's like a Marvel superheroes thing. Here, go stand here and it's Thor. Why not? It doesn't make sense to.
Well, what if there's like a flash on the screen, just a bunch of text right in the beginning where it's like, all these dinosaurs have gotten out. They're running around your neighborhood.
Okay, it's a great idea. I love it. It's very smart.
We're gonna see a lot more of this, like that Garfield thing, for instance.
Oh yeah.
That was what I was going to bring up. Is that Garfield thing came out 6 months after Pokemon Go?
Yeah.
So it seems like it doesn't take that long to make one of these things, or maybe I'm just like.
Well, the Garfield thing wasn't very good either.
I don't know. The raids that they added recently are pretty great.
Oh yeah, you raid the lasagna tray.
Raid the fridge.
What are you, a normal? But all I'm saying is, it felt like it took a long time for them to get around to this.
Yeah, Reeves, I liked when you said padlock. So. An attack corgi from Vancouver, British Columbia.
Okay.
Writes in and says, in lieu of the Jurassic Park game coverage, I don't know why in lieu of, if you're going to die by a dinosaur, how would you bite the dino dust? He wants
But we're covering the game.
They want to get crushed by Brachiosaurus.
Yeah, I want to sit right on my head.
You're lying down like on a picnic, and Brachiosaurus just comes and sits on
right
your
as
head.
I'm tucking my napkin into my shirt, and I've got a big messy sandwich. I want to just sit on it. Yeah.
That's good. I mean, I guess that would be better than getting your
Every
head.
other way is really bad. Like I've been thinking.
What about just like a cool raptor neck snap?
I guess
probably pretty painless overall, right?
The neck snap or the neck slice would be the best. Yeah.
Quick and
neck
painless.
slice?
Better than getting shot with poison in your face and then being consumed. Yeah, I think.
Well, Nedry's got the worst way to go.
Yeah.
but
Turns out it takes you an hour to
for.
die if your neck snap. Nobody's all been able to describe
Actually,
how painful
wait.
it is because
I remember now. I got the book on my side, so I guess I go by compy venom because then you just
slowly
because the compy venom I guess is like a anesthetic paralytic, right? So you just kind of go out like.
But then you still have to watch yourself get nibbled by dozens of compies.
But
that part sucks, but you're gonna get like a high off of it and just kind of chill out.
Ooh, you know what I would take? I would go down on all fours here and I'd stick my head out proudly, and I would just no, and I'd want an ankylosaurus just to take one big swing with his big tail, like a ball in the tail, just take my head out.
It's like a medieval execution.
Yeah.
See if you can hit your head into a target.
Yeah, exactly. It's set up a magnificent target made out of ferns.
Next.
I see you've seen that new trailer for Fallen Kingdom with that elaborate scene.
Hey guys, we're not supposed to talk about that.
Oh, come on. We can't talk about Fallen Kingdom. Here's a weird one. This is okay, so let me first say that wait a second. Oh, damn it. I don't know their name. Oh, that kills me.
Anyways, an angry corgi.
They say, so first let me say that Alex from God's Country, Louisville, Kentucky, does not represent all of us. Most of us park in parking spots at gas stations. What? This is an email based on last week where someone said that they don't get gas at gas stations, but they'll still park in the slot because it's easier to park.
Oh, that sucks.
That super sucks,
and
right?
They'll go somewhere else?
No, then they'll go and pick up
into the convenience
piece
store.
of candy or something. Yeah.
Okay.
Will you defend that, Dan?
You're still shopping there. I mean,
that's why they have parking spots.
Yes, that's why they have parking spots.
Those are sometimes filled. I've never done this, but I can see the case for it. Okay.
There's no case. Yes, everything's absolutely full. Then yes, that's not what he was describing.
But what if there's a bunch of empty spots on the gas station?
No.
Okay.
No. But the weird thing is because of that email last week, several people have tweeted me pictures of them doing that exact thing. Of like, hey, GI Show, I'm parking at the pump and walking in and not getting gas. It's like, no, we want you to do the opposite, everybody. Don't do that.
Take pictures of yourself calling and asking if the pizza guy wants to play Overwatch.
Yes, that's a fun time.
Overwatch at Fortnite. Yeah. Sorry, wrong.
This person says
the answer's the same.
This person says, and I'm sorry I didn't copy and paste the name. I f***ed up. One of my favorite games that I've probably sunk the most time into is Jagged Alliance 2. I've never heard anyone talk about it ever. I was even promoted to look, and GI didn't even review it that I could find. The sequel got a 5.75. So my question is, what game have you sunk the most time into that you feel has never been talked about? This is the fun question, Court, because it's like when you're on mic for years and years, at a certain point in Game Informer, I feel like, have I talked about every game I'm really into? Is there anything left untouched? What is it for you?
I have talked about it before, but Gotcha Force on GameCube is probably the one game I've never heard anyone talk about it before.
Right. And what's that game about?
It's small guys in a big
oh my god!
What?
You play as toys made by Capcom, so it's not like it's some weird obscure thing that. I mean, it was a GameCube game.
Yeah.
Which is a strike against it, but I mean, it was a major developer and publisher.
And no one has ever mentioned it.
No
I
one has
didn't know
ever
about it
mentioned
until you brought it up in that Super Replay Showdown that one time. Yeah, I had no idea.
That's fun.
For me, there's a game on Game Boy Advance. It's like a bizarre Tetris-ish game where you actually like physically haul the pieces and stack them and try and climb the stacks, called Egg Mania. I probably put 60 hours into Egg Mania on Game Boy Advance. I really, really love that game, and I've never heard anybody else mention it. I don't know if it sold 4 copies or what. I think they made some GameCube sequels or something.
There was a game I played a lot of on the Sega CD.
Whoa.
I can feel like I list any game on the Sega CD.
You could win this one.
Called Vi. You guys remember that?
No.
You know Lunar?
Yes.
It's like Working Designs brought that over, but they also brought over Vi, which is way more obscure RPG from Japan.
Okay.
About like this futuristic set of armor that fell from the sky, and then you find it and you're in a medieval world, but you have this like futuristic set of armor.
Can you say futuristic one more time?
Padlock armor.
It fell from the sky.
It's fun.
It's a hard word to say.
Have we ever done a replay on it or anything?
I don't know. I don't
We're
even know if
gonna
we
have
have
to
it.
now.
But yeah, I played a lot.
How do you spell that?
V-A-Y or E-Y? It's
Okay.
like a 3-letter word.
Something freaky.
I'm looking that up.
That's cool. Nick from Atlanta, friend of the show.
Dan
rates it a lot.
Tack? You have a game? No?
I do,
Nick?
yeah, sure.
Go for it, man. Jump
there was
in.
a
Sheesh.
Game Boy game called Magi Nation.
Magi Nation?
Yeah, it was a card game fighter.
That sounds
Guaranteed no one's ever heard of
unplayable.
this. It was also a physical card game for several years.
Magi Nation?
Yeah. MAGI dash Nation.
Oh, it needs like a... Is it like a pun on imagination?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it like genies and things too?
It's like fantastical creatures, sort of Pokemon-esque, but not really.
Huh.
Like weird
Let your
monsters.
Magi Nation run wild.
That's cute.
We should do a replay on that one.
Oh, boy, no. Nick from Atlanta writes in and says, "What's up, Game Informer nerds?"
Oh, I
That's
am.
outta here.
uncalled for.
I just got
Come
sat
on.
down.
Boo, Nick, come on.
Not
We
good.
have hearts.
Wow.
We have hearts. He says, I bet you like... I can't get away from this dickish. Basically,
What's up, nerds?
yeah, it's Blue from Pokemon at this point. I bet you like numbers and statistics, huh?
I do.
Well, hey, me too. So I stayed up until 3 a.m. the other night plugging in data from your top 300 games list.
Oh, boy.
I love these data breakdowns.
Okay.
Crack the code.
It's over.
So, can y'all get? Can you guess the best decade
The best
of video
decade.
games
Sure.
according to our top 300 list?
Sure, it's the
The
90s,
90s?
right?
I would think the 90s.
Yeah.
Cork?
The 2000s.
I'll start with the decade.
And
And
how's
Leo
he-
in the booth, do you have a guess? Leo in the booth?
I think it's the 2000s.
Okay.
How is he qualifying this though? Is it like the
most number.
entries?
I'm assuming he's going
Seems
by
that
number
way.
of
Or
titles.
the placement, is it weighted there as
Well,
well?
let me. Maybe this will
Because
help.
I don't know if he crunched the numbers enough.
Yeah.
Probably going to be surprised.
You
it's gonna
can't
be modern.
out-nerd us, Nick.
Yeah.
He says, I'll start with the decade.
Okay.
70s had a clear disadvantage. Only 4 of the games,
Yeah, and they sucked.
having only 4 years
Sure.
for 6 games total.
Mhm.
He writes, the 80s comparatively did much better, netting 32 games on the list. Yes, that's exactly what he's doing.
Okay.
He's just counting that. There's no weighted scale here, right?
Okay.
Well,
From there, we have a big
From
jump.
there.
The 90s and the 2010s were very close. 90s had 79 games on the list. 2010s had 81 games respectively.
Ooh. Yeah.
In the end, it was the 2000s with a whopping 102 games. Way to
Yeah,
go,
that's crazy.
Jeff Cork. Did it. Good job, Leo, too. You did it, and we love you as well.
I
Including
think
Dutch, of
Kyle
course.
did this and put it as an article on the site as well, and I think that's where I saw it.
Oh, really?
I think he did it by the
You're a
numbers.
dirty
thing.
little rat, Leo. You didn't tell me that you had
Wait a
I
minute.
still get the prize.
Why are you reading Kyle's stuff? What the hell, dude?
Is Nick taking credit for Kyle's work then?
Wait,
I don't-
yeah.
This sounds like he did it independent. This
Well,
is
he also has
independent
this one. He
analysis.
says, for the best year ever, I'm not going to go through all the years. Instead, I'll jump straight to second place, where there was a 3-way tie. 1993, 2001, and 2008 all had 14 games that made it to Game Informer's top 300 list. They were all strong contenders, but one stood above them with 17 games on the top 300 list. What do you have a guess?
What were the years again? 93.
It's not 93, 2001, or 2008, but 17 games on the top 300
Oh.
list were released in 1 year.
So it's not the 3 you just mentioned. Those are second place. Okay,
Correct.
I get it.
96.
Old school.
That's a good one.
Incorrect. It's 2010.
2010.
2010 takes the crown for the best year for video games ever, apparently, according to Game Informer.
What? Do you know any of the games?
2010, you got Super Mario Galaxy 2, you have Red Dead Redemption, you have Mass Effect 2.
You just listing this off of memory?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I like years a lot. You have Civ 5. Did that make our top? No.
Civ 5, it would have been
I don't know if that made our top 300 though.
2010, Civ 5.
Yep. You
Bioshock
have
Infinite? Was that too?
no, that's
late?
2013.
Okay, I was close.
Pretty close. 2010. There's some juggernauts that were obviously missing.
Deadly
but those
Premonition, was that 2010?
yes.
It didn't make our list.
Yes.
Just look it up real quick.
It did.
It
Yeah.
did? Okay.
Look it up, Scotty.
Look it up, Scotty. All right, we'll cut. Let's look it up. Okay, you looked up.
Ready?
Ready? What do you got?
All right, you got Call of Duty Black Ops.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've heard of it.
You already mentioned Mass Effect.
Yep. 2.
Fallout New Vegas.
Oh.
Red Dead.
Mhm.
Battlefield Bad Company.
Mhm.
Bioshock 2. That's what I was thinking.
Oh,
of
of course, of course. Yeah.
Here's a big one. StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
That'll chestnut.
Super Mario Galaxy, God of War 3, Halo Reach.
Oh,
You guys
that
remember
sounds
that
good.
obscure
Yeah.
one?
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Super Meat Boy, Heavy Rain. We can forget about that one. Limbo.
Wow, congratulations, 2010. If you're listening 2010, send something in to podcast@gameformer.com. We'll ship you out something real nice. Scott writes in and says, hello, crew. Your recent list of top 200 games ever and the podcast breakdown of each person's top 10 games got me thinking. I found that I had played quite a few of the top 300 games, but obviously hadn't played all of them, so I paid attention and noticed that Chrono Trigger was the highest game on that list that I had never played. My question to you is, ignoring newer games of maybe the last 2 years, what is the greatest game on our top 300 list that you have never played? I think this is kind of fun because I start so many games,
weird.
but like
Yes.
never even
Oh,
started.
never even played it.
Okay,
you
so
know?
it's never even started?
Yeah,
Never
what do you
even
think,
played
Reese?
it.
What do you think's up there?
Oh, we have to guess? We don't just look at the list and...
This is you
Figure it out?
personally, dude.
This is really hard.
Well, wouldn't it be easier if we just looked at the list and said, yep, there it is? Like number 11 or whatever?
What are you talking about? He's asking what is the best game that you've never played on our top 300 list.
Yeah, but we're guessing because we don't have the list in front of us
Right.
right now. If we just looked at the list, I could tell you exactly what
Okay,
it was.
you want to look at the physical list.
Well, right. Otherwise, I'm just guessing.
Of
So are you
Baldur's Gate 2. I don't know.
So you're asking
that's pretty far
to look at
back.
the list?
Yeah. Do you have the list up?
You want to look at the list? All right, I'll run and get the list.
Wait, do you want to look at the list?
I think it might be helpful.
It makes
to
sense for us to look
the
at
list.
because we just go down from one, I guess, and then pick the first
Right.
one. Is that
Okay.
yeah.
All right, hang on. I'll go get one from Sarah.
Yeah.
It makes more sense than you just picking Baldur's Gate, which is like 100 and something. We're like 30,
All right,
40.
Open it up
50.
and then pass it down.
All right. Well, how do you guys want to do it? Are we just going to look first? And
I think
then
we're gonna
say
Let's start
later?
from number 1 and work backwards, right? And
That
then
makes
whoever,
sense.
and we'll
Just
just.
go in reverse. It starts.
Oh, that's right.
We fixed it this time.
So this is tough, right? Where it's like, I think it's more fun. Yeah, never started this game.
Right.
Never-
Okay. Never start.
That-
never
that-
played.
Yeah.
Well,
Never started or played.
I mean that counts. Right?
okay,
Never
all right.
played.
There's some odd ones then if we're
Okay.
gonna go that way.
yeah.
But
there you
yeah,
go.
go
Well,
for
wait,
it.
how's it different
It's not.
in your mind?
Well,
Right.
I'll explain, right? So number
You'll
1,
explain.
obviously, is Link to the Past.
Right.
Assume we've all started that.
Yes.
in some
I'm not
way.
list. Do you want me to list them off until people say that was mine, or?
Sure.
All right, Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past,
Yep.
Mario 3,
Yep.
Tetris,
Of course.
Grand Theft Auto 5, World of Warcraft.
Stop. WoW, I've never played on my own account. I played a character on a friend's account
So you
for a
played the
little bit,
game.
but like on his
What if-
computer,
yeah,
never
what if-
on my computer.
That
Like,
doesn't matter. What if you
Really?
loaded
I think
someone
it
else's
does.
save game?
I
of
think
GTA?
it counts if Hanson wants it to count because
How
that's a
long
really
did you
weird
play
play
it?
to play an MMO.
I agree. I played it for like 10 hours probably on this dude's account. Like I
Yeah,
think
it's kind of a
I
lot
think
of time to play, though.
That's significantly more to play time than
gray
I thought
area.
they were
I
gonna.
think that's my number 1.
All right, you made it to number 5 then.
Yes, correct.
All right, Final Fantasy 6,
Mhm.
Call of Duty 4, Red Dead.
Stop. I don't think I've ever even started Modern Warfare.
Really?
I don't think so.
Okay, well then we can
Unless
count
we're
that
counting
one.
the DS version, which we did on a replay. That
You
was
never played
scrapped.
How have you never played that game?
I wasn't into Call of Duty. I didn't have a console when that came out either.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, you made it to number 7.
Okay,
Your
great.
Second life,
Great.
apparently. Skyrim, Witcher, Mrs. Pac-Man. This is Witcher 3, by the way.
Yeah.
Mrs. Pac-Man. Witcher 3, Mrs. Pac-Man, yeah.
Yeah.
Minecraft,
Mhm.
Doom. I'm close on Minecraft. I probably only put like 3 hours into that.
This is old Doom, right?
That's a mistake. Yep, this is old Doom.
Okay.
Yeah, Doom, original Doom, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Bioshock, Chrono Trigger, Diablo 2, Counter-Strike. This is another game I probably only put like maybe a couple hours
Well, you
into.
have
But you
started
played
at
it.
some
Haven't
point.
played it. Mass Effect 2, Super Metroid, Half-Life 2, Galaga, Overwatch.
This is getting absurd, you guys. Really,
Well,
you
these are
played
all
every one of
all
these?
easy. Yeah.
Overwatch is another one I've only played like maybe a couple
Okay,
hours.
well, you don't need
Anyway.
to tell us all the ones
Hey.
you've only played for a couple of hours.
We have the implication.
I was doing the
there.
Hanson rules,
Okay.
but Civilization 6, or sorry, that's 4. Last of Us.
I haven't played Civilization 4.
There we go. Jeff Quirk, Civilization 4. He's out.
You made it to number 24.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Super
So, Reeves,
Mario-
are you still in the running technically?
Yeah, if you count all those
Okay.
other ones.
All right.
Super Mario World, League of Legends. I'm out. 27.
There we go.
Still
Dan,
going.
still going strong.
All right. Vice City,
Yep.
Would it be faster? You want me to list them all off?
Keep
Assassin's
listing.
Creed
Okay,
2,
keep looking.
Portal, Battlefield 2, Bloodborne, Donkey Kong,
Okay.
Resident Evil 4, Mega Man 2, Super Mario Kart, StarCraft, Pokemon Red and Blue, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, God of War, NBA Jam, Dan?
Dude, I play tons of NBA Jam.
All right.
Hang on, is
Fallout
Dan
3.
Tech #1 gamer of all time?
Apparently, he's going strong. Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Uncharted 4, Robotron 20.
Uncharted 4.
Uncharted 4.
Wow,
That's right.
there it is.
Never
No,
even started.
what number is
Nope.
that?
Never
He
started.
made it to number 44.
Dan Tech, ladies
All right,
and
well
gentlemen.
done.
Should have played
Damn
Uncharted.
good.
I wonder how far I could have gone.
Damn good, man.
You should have count up and see how many you've actually played.
I don't want to do that.
You should actually. It was a fun question last week about how many we finished. I thought that was really great.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Riley from Issaquah, Washington says, Ben and crew, who do you think is most likely to die in Avengers: Infinity War?
Oh, it's Vision.
Yeah.
Just 'cause
100%.
they need that gem.
Yeah, his gems. He is the gem, right?
But can't they
Plus,
just
he's
take it out of his
completely
head
dis-
and then he'll just be dumb for a little bit?
That's the one where
he's
every-
completely expendable. He's gonna go.
everybody says like he's the obvious choice, which makes me think they wouldn't do it. Like they'd find some way around it. But
Yeah, and there's weird stuff in the trailer where he's like a human again and stuff, right? Wasn't that one of the teases? And so it's like, is it a vision from Scarlet Witch or what?
I bet
is
Wanda
that?
will do some like tricky magic stuff and like keep him alive somehow.
Yeah,
we
Magic Wanda.
need to keep him around.
This is
very
this
important
is
to
the
me.
best. I think
I mean-
Reeves hits it right there.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying Captain America. I kind of feel they'd save that for the second.
There's no
Infinity
way they're
War.
getting rid of him. But it's not
Really?
possible.
Not possible. I feel like Captain America's second movie, I feel like Tony Stark first movie.
Really?
Yeah. Just financially alone, like at some point,
They
you
just-
got to cut that
They
out.
cannot afford to. Like
To
the-
get rid of him, that's the ultimate stakes. Like that's going to be the Coulson going down in the first Avengers, right? Like if Iron Man gets killed,
Yeah.
and everyone's like, "We got to rally now." I
Now
think
we got
that's
to
it.
go.
Yeah, this
they-
is serious.
they
We're
could
dicking
just-
around before.
They could just kill Groot again.
It's just
It's
apparently
it's
just
very
going
easy
on.
to do.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think it would be great to have one of those characters die, but I think they want to preserve their.
So you're saying at the end of even Infinity War Part 2, who's
They got to kill somebody big.
yeah?
Yep,
Who is it
I
gonna be?
understand.
Take a guess.
Captain America.
Okay.
If we have to kill a major one,
Yeah.
it'll be him.
They did say Thor gets the most screen time.
I heard that, so I kind of wondered, like, I wonder if maybe they'll actually just kill Thor because they set it up throughout the movie, like, oh,
Yeah.
now people like him because
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. These are fictional characters. They can't die, you guys.
I'm aware.
Oh my gosh,
Riley, why did you?
it's all in our imagination.
I wish it would.
As long as we believe in them, they'll live on.
Okay.
Wow. Haley Edge writes in and says, "Hello, crew. This is Haley from God's Country, London, Ontario. It has never been officially ordained God's Country. That's not binding, Haley. First, I want to say this is the only podcast to listen to. Thank you. She really likes the sound mix, so good job, Leo. We have been tweaking the filters and compression a lot lately, so if you like it more now, please let us know. On to my question. Ever since 1998's Harvest Moon for the Game Boy Color, I have an odd affinity for farming games. I find them relaxing, and I just love them. As spring approaches, I feel the constant need to advise my coworkers and friends on how to arrange their real-world gardens, despite having only ever had one real-life vegetable garden for one summer of my entire life. What's the least useful real-world knowledge you've acquired through video games? What do you feel like you're an expert on, despite having never stepped foot in that field of work?
Wow.
I'm really good at hang gliding.
I have a similar one where in my heart of hearts, probably because of video games, I feel like I'd be a really good pilot.
Yeah.
I feel like I just know I could fly the crap out of this plane.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of people in my family are pilots, and I think that also has filtered into my dumb soul where I'm sure if I ever touched a joystick or a throttle, what do
Yeah.
you call that thing? I'm sure I just burst into tears. I have no idea what it would be.
And flames.
Yes. Very
I
likely.
did fly a plane with Dan Reichert a million years ago when he first started.
Oh my gosh, I remember that.
Yeah, so
is that
like
video still on site?
I don't know. Dan also misrepresented how good he was at video stuff. So
Wait, you made a video of you flying a plane? I
yeah,
don't think I remember this.
it was a long time. It was when Megan was still here.
Megan
There's
Marie
also a
of
video-
Crystal Dynamics.
Yeah.
Of Cork, you driving a tank.
Yeah,
So
Jason A. Striker's
You've
work,
gotten
yeah.
to do a lot of good
I
stuff
used to
here.
do stuff.
What do you mean you flew a plane?
I flew a plane.
Used
I
to do stuff.
sat in a little tiny plane, and the instructor was there, and I took off and landed. And flew
You
around.
landed a plane?
Yeah.
Wait,
Can I touch your hands?
I thought you had to
That's
do that for like
amazing.
hundreds of hours before they let you do
Oh
that.
no, they'll fast track you. if
You work in a
if you work
magazine?
video game
Yeah.
magazine.
Turns
Yeah.
out
It's super easy. You could totally do it.
You played Ace Combat? Come on up.
Yeah.
We got 747 for you here,
Oh,
buddy.
nice.
The weirdest
All right.
thing is that the wheel made little squeaky sounds, and it didn't appear to be connected to anything. And I sat in the back seat, but yeah, I was really good.
Well done. We're glad you made it.
Yeah. I don't think I have delusions, but I think like Guitar Hero is another one where it's like, oh, I could probably play the guitar if I wanted to.
Oh, you should try it. Just
Yeah.
immediately realize how that does not hold true.
I feel like drums are a little more 1-to-1, so I feel like that illusion a little bit because
Yeah.
of the drums.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. You could go on stage at any rock concert and just completely nail it.
All right, I will.
Do you think you could pick a lock?
I don't know. I feel like maybe I could be an archaeologist because I played a lot of Tomb Raider.
Right. You're really good at jumping.
That's right.
Shooting.
I can smash pots.
That's a great question. It is unnerving when you realize, wait, I don't know anything about any of these things.
Yeah, this is all fake things I know. I hope these gardening people realize this too at some point. Be like,
I think the better
wait
part,
a second.
I think the best part is that they don't.
Yeah.
They're just like, why didn't my crops go this season?
Do you think if like somebody, Dan, like if you got traveled back
Sure.
in time and you had to lead Caesar's army, you think you'd be all right at that? Because
To
of
lead
all the,
Caesar's army?
because of all the RTS you played. Like, do you feel like you'd be a good
I
military?
mean, yeah,
commander?
I'd probably have a better grasp of tactics than people in that era. Yeah, I could. Sure.
Your first order of business would be build me a blimp so I could be very
Like,
high.
I know
above you all.
I know how all warfare has progressed since now. We're gonna have a big edge.
So you're saying you'd be Caesar?
I said I could lead Caesar's
Modern
army.
day Caesar. Well, apparently he's the Caesar of gaming.
All
after
right,
that.
yeah.
So that
No,
list.
that's stupid. Uncharted
won't
4
question you
really,
anymore.
really irritated
Otherwise,
me.
you would have ran the gamut.
I don't know how far I could have gotten. I wanted to know without that. I
You
should
would have taken the
All I had to
full
do was
padlock.
play it. I had it sitting there and I never played it.
It's a great game. You should.
It is also a really good game.
All right, Irvin Rivas writes in. You want to read this one, Cork, just for fun? Here he goes.
I recently found out that. Oh, hi, Ben and crew. I recently found out that Toys R Us is closing and can't stop thinking about the moment I first walked in and saw the toys run through the aisles, but I was actually there to purchase the Game Boy camera. I saw the toys run At that time, what truly grabbed my interest was the gaming section. I recall looking at two teenagers playing a game and I heard familiar announcer sound, so my curiosity brought me closer to the screen to see what they were playing, and to my surprise, I saw Fox and Captain Falcon duking it out in awesome graphics.
Oh my god.
That is the moment where I found out about the release of the GameCube. My question to you in the panel is, what, if any, fond memories do you have with Toys R Us?
So mine is definitely acquisition of my NES.
Acquisition.
And Zelda. I got them both the same day.
Console
Great.
acquired.
Life
goal
path.
achieved.
I had to save up for quite a while to get it, and it was an epic moment, man. Getting that gold cartridge,
Oh.
like just looking at it as I left the store.
Did
It
you
was-
like kiss
it was
your
epic.
hand and then slap it on Jeffrey the giraffe's face on your way out the door?
That was back when there still were Jeffrey the giraffes, like walking around the stores.
They walked around the stores?
I remember on several occasions, at least, seeing them in store.
The nearest Toys R Us was an hour away from me growing up, and so it was a rare occasion. So I don't really. I remember they had bikes in the bike racks.
They
which was
did.
cool.
Oh, and those little cars you could buy. Nobody could ever afford those, but
Oh,
they were
man.
like you
Those
could
were
actually
the
drive
coolest.
them.
Power
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
wheels?
It was like
Yeah.
a electric Power Wheel though, because
Yeah.
you could physically drive it.
Yeah.
Today they're pedestrian, but they were incredible at the
Dime a
time.
dozen. Every kid's got a Segway.
I got two. I wear them like shoes.
You know what I'm saying? Like it was a different era, and it was magical.
I loved the game section though. I remember back when they had it like behind glass, and you had to like take the paper slip
Yep,
up to the
that's
counter, and like I remember saving up money and going to buy. I've talked about this game a lot, but like Panzer Dragoon Saga. I was like really excited for it,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember going to the store to get it, and like I saw it and I like took the last slip, so I got the last. I got the last copy of Panzer Dragoon.
That was a big deal back
Dragon
then.
Saga.
A memorable
yeah.
transaction.
That's right.
You got it.
Yeah, it was fun.
I mean, you seem like a huge toy guy, Toys R Us guy. Weren't you recently at a Toys R Us just to check out like the?
Oh, they have the sale. We drove by and I said, hey, we should go in there. Look at the sign. It says 30% off everything. We get closer. Very small letters. Up to. They had a sign that I've never
course.
seen in my entire life. 5% off. Have you ever seen anything advertised as 5% off? That's the majority of Toys R Us right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Keep going.
Which
'Cause-
puts it in line with, only priced 20% above.
look, let them make some money before they go out of business. Let them have their.
They got to
dignity,
pay their
Cork.
debts off.
Yeah.
I will say, though, like, I grew up in Alaska, which I don't talk about nearly enough. And so we did not have Toys R Us at the time.
Yeah.
But I remember, like, in a school
You had
trip.
Toys Walrus.
We had Toys R Us, exactly.
Jeffrey the Walrus.
That would have been sweet, actually. That's a darn good mascot.
Yeah, I
Take
think him.
it away, Cork.
Yeah, when I went on a school trip, we went to Washington State, and we went to a Toys R Us, and I just about exploded with joy. It was so exciting to see like huge game section,
Yeah.
with bikes out front of the bike racks or whatever you were looking at. That was good too, probably. But yeah,
Great
We were
story.
in the store. That's why it was
Yeah.
super cool.
Sad day.
Were bikes not a thing in Alaska? Did people not bike around then?
bicycle.
Bicycles? Yeah.
Yeah, we had bikes.
Well, it has the word icicle right in there. Of course it's a thing.
Oh, of course.
Sean from Massachusetts writes in and says, "Happy spring, Ben and crew." I was about to click on it. Damn it, Kirk.
Oh boy.
I was about to click this lame ass Alaska joke. It's called-
Igloo.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh, is
Okay.
glue a thing out there then?
I was about to click on a review on the GI site when I realized I was already guessing the score in my head based on the tagline the author gave.
Uh-oh.
He says tagline. What do you guys call that?
A
I think
headline?
he's talking about the subhead. I'm
Subhead
assuming.
is what we call it.
Subhead or headline?
The thing below.
Well, we
the name of
really
the
would
game.
have to know what she's talking about, but I think he's got to be talking about the
I think that's it.
secondary text.
There we go. The fact that my guess turned out to be right when I did click on the review gave me appreciation for those few words a reviewer has to convey their experience. Two things. Is creating that tagline, subhead, headline tricky?
It can be.
Because Joe says no.
Yeah.
Joe usually
The,
doesn't like
the headline
puns.
is usually a lot trickier than the subhead. The subhead
Yeah.
would just try to relay what's in there. Headline can be rough.
Okay. Jeff Corky recently reviewed Far Cry 5 and your headline was take it away.
I don't have to do this, do I?
Yeah,
Yes.
you wrote it, you dingus.
Yeah, it was Big Psy Country.
Big Psy Country. And
Yeah.
that got through the filters of Joe hating puns.
I'm impressed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty good.
It was
Pretty good.
more impressive is like hearing other people on staff saying like, "Oh, I didn't get the pun."
Yeah, that's impressive.
I got it right. I didn't,
I still my favorite is your Happy Home Designer Animal Crossing game where you
Yeah.
said low in fun housing.
That is really good.
It's so
That got Leo in the booth.
Everlasting Mob Stopper.
Oh, what was that
That
one?
was Yakuza.
Everlasting Mob Stopper. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Oh,
I would like to apologize for everyone.
Well, I don't know why you're apologizing. You know
But-
me.
but-
Oh, and then JB also brought up your Firewatch, Gabbin in the Woods. Anyways, Sean
Oh,
has
dear.
a game for us here.
Okay.
Here are
Oh.
some subheads, headlines from Game Informer's reviews.
Mhm.
See if you can guess the score given
Guessing
based
the
on the
score.
tagline.
Oh boy.
Oh, okay.
Right?
okay.
Mhm.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unpolished platform bliss. You don't know what the game is.
wow.
I'll tell you in a bit, but what's that score?
Unpolished
Unpolished,
platform.
but it's bliss.
Right, you tell me, headline.
875.
That sounds like
Sounds like a Kyle joint.
like an 8. Seems like an 8.
Use the word bliss.
the bliss.
That's a strong word.
The bliss
man.
is really
Very
strong.
strong.
825.
Jeff Cork with 8. That's a Hat in Time by Kyle Hilliard.
Oh,
Ready? Here we go.
Yeah.
This
I'm
is
impressed that I
He's
pulled
got to
off
be
the
careful with his
author, though.
blisses, man.
yeah, no kidding. Blisses get stitches. A lonely mountain.
A lonely mountain.
That doesn't tell me.
guess.
Because that could be good or bad.
I'm gonna guess a 9.
Yeah.
A 7.
Reeves is
Lonely
playing
mountain.
a different game
I've
where
gotta
he's
go
trying to guess
down.
the game, and he remembers that Journey got a 9, I'd imagine. Is
I'm
that the
going
game
7.
you're playing? Okay. A lonely mountain. Jeff
How
Cork.
does it even? That doesn't mean anything.
There's no, like, it's
Hey,
impossible.
you're the writers here.
Yeah.
You got to defend yourselves.
I didn't write this up.
I sure as hell didn't write that.
Sure.
I hope I didn't write
I
this.
didn't know you didn't.
It doesn't rhyme.
There's no pun.
8-5.
That's a 6. For Steep
I was closest.
Road to the Olympics from Matthew Cotto.
Well, I didn't know if it was like a
I was close.
JV virtual life kind of
right.
No, he wouldn't have used lonely. He would have been like some weird like,
meditation.
10-part word.
Padlock Mountain. A passionless prison for great gameplay.
975.
I think I wrote that one.
Don't give it away, Tech.
All right.
Passionless prison
for great gameplay.
for great gameplay.
Oh boy,
Oh,
those are
nice.
so
And then-
tough.
wait,
I even know the game.
And then it comma, then it just says the word bliss. I don't know.
There's
I
no
don't know what
bliss.
it's gonna
There's no
get.
bliss.
Is it Darkest Dungeon?
No, I know exactly what game it is.
Okay.
even.
Okay,
A passionless prison. Sounds like your love
great
life.
gameplay. That sounds
That's got more passion.
775. I'm gonna say.
Jeff Cork,
nailed it.
775.
Wow.
Lawbreakers from Daniel Tech.
Oh, wow.
Oh boy. All right. What are you doing, buddy? We're going back. A me burger in paradise.
Okay. Oh, I got
That's a Ben Reeves production, isn't it?
I don't know.
That sounds like
A me
Ben
burger
Reeves.
in paradise.
Me burger.
It's not Super Meat Boy, is it?
Oh my god.
A me burger in paradise.
What game is that?
That's gonna be. Oh my god.
Uh,
At 8.5.
I think I'm gonna go straight 8.
I'm gonna go 8.5.
The 7.5, written by Matt Helgeson for Wii Sports Resort.
A Wii Burger in Paradise.
Wii Sports
like-
Resort, like
Yeah.
Is it
cheeseburger?
Me-I-I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
All right, here we go. A little help from my friends.
Is it spelled me?
A little help from my
A
friend.
little help from
See,
my
that
friends.
doesn't tell you anything.
Is that the Beatles rock band, do you think?
Oh, it could
So
be.
9-5?
Here's a hint. Someone at this table wrote it.
Yeah, that's probably me.
Okay,
It
that
wasn't
wouldn't
me.
A
That
little help
seems
from my friends.
familiar. Yeah, I don't remember which.
be one of the Far Cries.
8-5.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
remember.
gonna say
This
8-7-5.
game's all over the place, but I like it. That's a 9 from
Uh,
Jeff Cork
Uh,
for Pikmin 3.
yeah.
A little help from your friends. I get it.
Yeah, because he's a little one
Yeah.
friends.
This icy sequel brings plenty of fire.
Wow, this is
Christ,
breaking
I
the
hope,
format.
I
a
hope
little
I
bit.
didn't write that one.
Dead Space 2?
This icy shit.
Oh, no, wait, that'd be 3. Dead
Yeah.
Space 3, so 9-7-5.
Incorrect.
Well,
Lost
that
Planet
wasn't my
2?
official guess.
Incorrect.
An 8.
I'll say 775.
Could have been Mario Galaxy.
This is a
2?
925
What?
from Brian Vore
Uh-huh. Game.
for Donkey Kong Country Tropical
Mm.
Freeze. A risky bet.
A risky bet.
I'm gonna say 7.
This has actually been really instructional for me because I'm going to start. My subheads are going to actually convey
Yeah.
more about
Just
the
put the
numeric
number in
value
the
here.
subhead. How many times do I have to tell you right or idiots?
Risky bet. God, I hope that wasn't me. It could have been me.
Nope.
Is this somebody at this table?
Nope.
Okay, good. I hate
This
it.
is Matt Miller.
Yeah, I don't like it at all.
risky
And I like Matt. So,
Yeah.
um,
I'm gonna go 8.
yeah.
This is a 6. Need for Speed Payback.
Ah.
War. War never changes,
Uh-huh.
and neither does Fallout.
Okay, that might have been
very
Metal
smart.
Gear 4.
Yep, Reeves is going with Metal Gear 4.
I'm gonna guess Fallout 4. What did you
yeah.
give that?
So I think we gave that. What would we give that? A 9? A
Maybe
9.
something
Somewhere in the
That high?
9s.
8-7-5.
Incorrect. 8.5. Fallout New Vegas from Andrew Reiner.
Mm.
All right, now this is. If you guys don't get this one,
Uh-huh.
I'm walking out of this room.
Okay,
Oh,
well,
thank God.
let's get ready to walk.
Let's throw.
A much improved second shift. A much improved second shift.
Is it supposed to help?
Much improved.
I'm missing
Much
the first
improved.
shift.
Missing the first shift.
825.
I'm gonna guess 8-5.
Tack.
A 9.
7.5 from Matt Burtz for NHL 16. Thank you, Sean from Massachusetts. That's a hell of
That's
a game,
fun.
and we'll all feel bad
That's a
about
good one.
ourselves.
That was a
but
cool game.
That was
Yeah.
fun. Good job.
Yeah.
Scott Campbell has another game. Do you guys want to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay,
here. I'm
that's
here for
all I
the,
wanna
I'm
do.
here for the whole thing, buddy.
Ben and friends, allow me to poorly explain some video games to you like we did in last week's episode.
Mhm.
Can you guess what they are based on these vague descriptions?
This is the same game, it sounds like.
I didn't
Very
get to
simple.
play
Feels
this. I
that
didn't get
way.
to play this last time.
2. Will they, won't the lovers alternate between cooperating and cutting each other down? What game is that?
Lovers in Dangerous Space Time. Incorrect.
Incorrect.
2. Will they? Won't they? Lovers
Yep.
cut each other up. For a good
cutting
time?
people up. This is-
Yep. 2 lovers cut each other up for a good time. So, you got it, Rich. No. 2. Will they, won't they lovers alternate between cooperating and cutting each other down?
Oh, Uncharted 2.
Snipper clips.
Ah,
The heavens rain misshapen hail.
The heavens
the
rain,
hell?
misshapen hail.
what the?
Bulletstorm.
Tetris.
Oh,
That is-
that's actually
That is not a good clue for Tetris.
Children roam the war-torn countryside to compete in glorified dogfighting rings.
Oh, it's Pokemon. of
Correct.
Some kind.
Damn
Yeah.
close to Detective
Yeah.
Pikachu. Thank you, Scott Campbell, for writing that in.
All
Friend
right.
of the show, Scott Campbell. Thank you so much.
Misshapen hail.
Hail no, says Tech! All right, what do you guys like? Question of the week.
There's lots of good stuff.
Yeah, it was
Guys
really
came
good.
up with the subheads that we had to guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's give him. I want to give
That
that
was
one
good.
credit. Yeah.
I think you're totally right. That is Sean from Massachusetts. Congratulations, Sean. We'll ship something very nice out to you. Congratulations again. Thanks to everybody that wrote into podcast@gameinformer.com. Keep those emails coming. Anything that makes the show better, send it to podcast@gameinformer.com. We appreciate hearing from you. Hey, for
Hey,
now, you guys ready to learn a little bit more about Jurassic World Evolution?
I can't wait.
A little bit more? I
yeah.
mean, a lot more? All right. Coming up, first interview. This is John Zuur Platten to talk about writing the game. So here's John.
John Platten, welcome to the Game Informer Show, sir.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
Honored to have you. So what is your official title with Jurassic World Evolution here?
I'm the game writer.
Okay.
So basically anything that was dealing with the narrative, trying to provide some context for the gameplay, which the guys at Frontier have been great at creating. You know, I'm there to sort of fill in the blanks in terms of putting the story together, and I worked with the designers to make that happen.
That's awesome. And so you're actually with Universal then, or just freelance writer?
I've done a lot of projects for Universal in the past. So I've been a freelance writer and in various companies for, did my first game in 1992.
Okay.
It's a game called Tomcat Alley. It was for Sega CD.
Wow.
Back in the early days of Granola Vision, which was a single-speed 16-speed CD-ROM drive. It was pretty brutal.
Granola Vision?
Yeah, we called it Granola Vision because those were the full-motion video games, the early FMV games.
Okay.
And the resolution wasn't the greatest, but I basically made a game that sort of was an homage. Some would say I ripped off, but I say it was an homage to Top Gun. And
was it tough to land on the
it was mostly
well?
you couldn't really control the plane, so you could do a lot of combat.
Okay.
But it turned out to be very successful. And you know, I had a background in traditional media. I actually worked at this studio for a number of years.
This is Universal, by the way.
Universal, by the way, for those that are wondering. So it was a little bit like coming home.
Yeah.
But yeah, after I did that game, I started writing a lot of video games. And
what kind of stuff?
So I have a long association with Universal on a number of projects. Was fortunate enough to do the Chronicles of Riddick property. So
that's awesome.
Butcher Bay and Dark Athena. Was able to write both of those.
So you're traveling around Starbreeze a lot for that?
Yeah, I worked. We worked with Starbreeze pretty much directly on that, and you know, getting to work with Vin Diesel was amazing. I mean, it's like, as a writer, you live for actors who can breathe life to your lines, because you never take it to the finish line. Like when you write, I always look at like what I do is about 80%, because the final 20% of the magic happens in the studio with the actor. And the actor can always make you so much better.
Yeah.
Can always make your lines so much better. And so I was very lucky in being able to work with Vin, and now on Jurassic World Evolution, being able to work with Jeff Goldblum was insane and amazing and unbelievably cool. And you know, to write a line at 3 o'clock in the morning in your underwear and you're banging it out trying to make a deliverable, and then you go into the recording studio and you hear him do it, and you go, oh my God.
When you're writing Jeff Goldblum lines, Ian Malcolm lines, I guess we should technically say,
Ian
are you
Malcolm
putting in the ums, the ahs, the little pizzazz in there?
I did initially right up front, just so that other people that were reading the material would read it in his voice.
Yeah.
Right?
That's very tough to do. Yeah.
And it's tough, right? But the great thing is that once you everyone sort of gets the rhythms, because he does have a very sort of his own unique style and rhythm to how he does, you know, performance. And so initially I wrote it kind of like channeling him. So yeah, there was a lot of repeated words and ellipses and ums and ahs and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But, you know, sort of channeling my inner Dr. Ian Malcolm. But then once we got into it, I stopped that. And the reason I did that is because when we took it to the recording studio, we wanted Jeff to make it his own.
Of course.
And so you want him to give him his clean script and just say, you know, go for it as you feel the character.
Is it tough? You know, it's a tough line between where Ian Malcolm starts and Jeff Goldblum starts. So, because I think a lot of people that hire Jeff Goldblum these days, the temptation is just Goldblum it out, man. Go full Goldblum. That's what we hired you for. Thor Ragnarok's a great example of that, right? And so, is there any reining in of that, or are you saying just go nuts with Goldblum?
No, see, the thing was great is that Jeff understands that character so well.
Yeah.
That, you know, there were times when he would come to me and go, you made that a little too me and not enough Malcolm, you know, and so we would kind of do some back and forth in the studio.
Yeah.
He was great. He knows that character inside and out, and he really has a respect for the character that he's created. And so I think you'll see that in the game.
Yeah.
He is very much, and this as we were talking about it, this is more Ian Malcolm than you've seen in any Jurassic property before.
It's
so
very
you get a
confusing,
lot. You get a lot of Ian Malcolm in the game, which is fantastic.
So I interviewed Jeff Goldblum earlier today, and the main question for him was like, did your mind just shatter trying to figure out why he's doing this? Why would Ian Malcolm as a character help somebody build Jurassic Park? I understand he's like, hey, be careful, go easy, but shouldn't he just be screaming, saying, for the love of God, don't build this?
I think he feels a responsibility. In the way that I approached it was, Ian Malcolm feels a responsibility because he's touched it. He's breathed it. He's lived it. He's survived it.
Yeah.
And so he feels sort of this responsibility that if he can't stop it, he's going to stay close to it.
Okay.
Right? He's going to be a part of it in some way, and he's going to do what he can to sort of try and manage the genie that's left the bottle that's not going back.
Right.
And so that was sort of the way we approached the character. And I think it gave him some freedom to play in kind of new areas with the character in ways he hasn't done before.
Yeah, okay, so just zooming out a little bit on the overall project, it was described to me earlier today as like a soft canon. How exactly would you describe it? Like, you're building up a park, so it's tough to say it takes place exactly in this moment within the Jurassic Park timeline, but how do you frame that?
Yeah, well, some of it happens, absolutely within the timelines of the films.
Yeah.
And there's some cool, surprising things that happen that people are going to like that are sort of callbacks to the property.
Yeah.
There are hooks into Michael Crichton's original novel. There are hooks into the original Jurassic Park film from Steven Spielberg. There are references to characters that you know throughout the property. So we've tried to be as respectful as we can to the canon. But of course, you have to make it your own. So it is a balancing act.
What did you pull? I'm a big Jurassic Park dork. What did you pull from the book in particular?
There's a reference that Ian Malcolm makes, basically talking about fractals.
Yeah.
And basically talking about the dragon fractals. And that was basically in the Crichton books. He basically used those as sort of a framing device for each chapter.
Yeah.
And so, because Malcolm is so huge on chaos theory, and the idea that what appears to be random and what appears to be disorder really has sort of an inherent logic hiding underneath it all. We felt it was really nice to maybe use that as a way to call back to some of the original book material. So
where else did you pull from? Because when you're actually seeing the 5 islands here, the 5 deaths, it's the first time, unless there's like some comic book I'm not aware of, where you get to see the other islands.
Right.
What were you going off of for just the layout and design, or I guess themes of each island?
Yeah, for that, I mean, the designers had already sort of laid out the idea of the islands, and they wanted each of the islands to be a unique kind of gameplay in terms of the challenges you'd face on each of the islands. Obviously, there's continuity, but then there's like unique challenges because of the islands and their situations. So a lot of it just kind of came from sort of building on what had already been done and introducing some new material.
Is it discussions with Trevorrow and the team over there from the film perspective about like, hey, is it okay if we start touching this sacred, untouched ground?
Yeah,
in the Jurassic Park universe?
everything that I wrote, went through the process, right? And what was great was working with the folks at Universal and working with the filmmakers. They wanted this to be a great game. They wanted it to be something that the fans would enjoy. And so they were very much a collaborator with us, and was great to be a part of it.
What was the most surprising feedback you got from Trevorrow?
For me, I don't know if it was directly from Trevorrow, but the most surprising feedback I got was how little they wanted to change of the stuff that we were doing. They really were overall pretty pleased with the direction of where we were going. And we did have one character that we sort of played with a little too far, and they said, reel that back in. And unfortunately, I can't say who that was, but you'll be surprised when you see it. But yeah, overall, they were terrific. And they understand the property. They feel like caretakers of that property. And I felt myself an immense responsibility to be a caretaker of the property as well and make sure I was doing it right, as did everybody at Frontier. Everybody from the top down that's creating the game really felt an immense responsibility to be true to the property, and so we went for it.
All right, this is a nerdy show and podcast you're going to be on, so fractals are great. Are there other super deep nerdy cuts from Jurassic Park that you worked into this, or just slight references, or like how deep down the rabbit hole did you go?
I had to basically go back and I watched all the films and basically read a lot of the material, and I was a younger guy when I saw the original Jurassic Park, and I saw it in the theaters, unlike a lot of people. Because I'm a little beat older than some of the guys on the team. But the thing was, if I could go back and tell my younger self that one day I would be writing lines for characters that I loved in that film, I would just freak out, So it was like, wanting to do a callback to a really deep cut somewhere in the property made a lot of sense to me because I was like, oh my God, right? But yeah, some of the other things that we touch on some of the other characters that exist in the Jurassic Park universe, and clearly some of those characters have created problems, and they may be back.
So maybe not cameos, but references?
And potential.
Oh, interesting. So at some point Ian Malcolm would be like, oh boy, Tim wouldn't like this area that you're building over there.
Yeah, and also, people that had been engaged. The underlying theme of Jurassic Park is one of both optimism and hubris, right? Hubris that you think you can sort of resurrect that which is extinct.
Right.
And somehow bring it back into the world and control it. That's always been what the underlying theme of the property is, right? It is a story about dinosaurs, but it's really a story about man's hubris. It's really a story about man believing he's better than nature on some level. Or smarter than nature might be the more accurate term.
Right.
And a few of the characters in the Jurassic Park universe really play that to the extreme, and some of them will be appearing.
Ah, very fun.
So yeah.
What's been the most satisfying part of the project so far?
Working with the guys at Frontier.
Yeah. Visiting them in the studio.
Visiting in the studio, going to the UK to see them, seeing their passion, their dedication. They're just, it's a great team. They've proved themselves in the past, and I think people are going to be really, really happy and really, really love playing this game.
Yeah, cool, man. Well, hey, John, thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you. Michael and Andrew, welcome to the Game Informer Show, guys.
Yeah.
So, lead designer, Andrew.
That's right.
Director, Michael.
Yep.
That's the way it works?
Yeah.
How long have you been a director on the project?
So I've been on the project just over a year now.
Okay.
Working on Leak before then.
Was this a tough one to keep secret for a really long time?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's just what I mean. Making theme parks, playing space games, and dinosaurs. They're three ultimate things for gaming, really.
Really, like when I first saw this game revealed, it was that moment of, I'm also a Dragon Ball fan, but not as much as I am a Jurassic Park fan. And it reminds me of Fighters. When Dragon Ball Fighters was announced, like finally, the perfect team to develop this exact type of game. Finally get those two to kiss, get the peanut butter and jelly together, you know what I mean? I feel like Frontier and a Jurassic Park sim is just perfect. I mean, what is the process like internally? Is it just secret negotiations and there's one meeting where it's announced to everybody and they say, yeah, I think we can do this?
It was a very long and involved process of sort of obviously working with Universal about the sort of thing they wanted to see, us demonstrating our strengths and also thinking about how would we approach a game like that.
Yeah.
So there was quite a lot of build up to it before we actually got started on actual production.
Are you guys just pros at Sims at this point, so there's no fear? Or with this license, was it a new level of like, oh crap, how are we going to do this?
There were definitely new things to consider with this license. I mean, I think it's it is a management at sim game, but there's new elements to consider with the Jurassic franchise. So, traditionally with management games, it's all about you build them and you build and you grow bigger and bigger and you earn more money. This game has that too, but it's also got, what the films have, which is that things go wrong. Things have to go wrong, otherwise it's not Jurassic World. So
it's got to be tough. I mean, in no other game, well, maybe there's some trolls and stuff, but no one plays Uncharted and just has Nathan Drake repeatedly jump off a cliff. You know what I mean? But with Jurassic Park, that's what you want. And so how you design a game where it's like, we know this is what players want to happen, but it's also punishing, that seems impossible.
But it's also how you bounce back from that, right? That's the heroism in the movies is dealing with the calamities and trying to overcome the problems,
Just to make some more cash.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the most applicable game from the past? It's built on the Planet Coaster engine, right?
And kind of improved version of the...
Okay. We have our own engine that we use for all of our projects.
Okay.
But I think we've had a number of titles over the years that really have fed into us being able to make this game the way that it is. I mean, even back when I first started at the company, almost 15 years ago, we were doing Dog's Life. So we're animating a dog through all kinds of landscapes and things. And ever since then, we've done various animal games such as Collectibles, we've done Zoo Tycoon, we've done numerous sort of theme park games, Thrillville, Wasti 3. I think it's all come together at the right time where we've got the engine for it, we've got the institutional knowledge for it, we've got the experience, and we've got one hell of a license.
I'm still a little bit confused about just the business behind this. Like I talked to a representative from Universal earlier, trying to figure out okay, they're licensing their stuff out to great developers, but are you guys self-funding it, self-publishing it? Can you talk about that relationship?
So we're publishing the game ourselves. We basically are working with Universal to release the game, but as we're Planet Coaster and Elite Dangerous, we're self-publishing it.
Okay, but they're footing the bill? Is that how it works?
No, I wish.
For this event, at least, which is nice, I guess. So playing the game a little bit, I enjoyed it, and I was just trying to wrap my mind around like how structured is this thing going to be? How much freedom are you allowing players? Like it was I guess strange to have like a sim and then have like mission objectives in the lower right. Is that throughout the entire game? Can you talk about that balance of player freedom?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's another one of the challenges with this particular management game is that we wanted it to have narrative elements. We wanted it to have a progression structure to make it kind of more substantial and also more accommodating perhaps to a broader audience. But at heart, you can still play it as if it's a sandbox. You know, each island you can restart and try it numerous times, however you want.
And you can just ignore missions?
Oh yeah. You can. I mean, you'll miss out on a lot of content, but I mean, you can certainly progress through the game and however you want to play it. If you want to pump out, 100 Street minuses on the first island, you can do, and you might make the next island. You have to generate the cash, and the best way of doing that really, one of the best ways of doing that is by engaging with the missions that unlock items you can't get any other way.
Okay, so you unlock new islands with cash? It's just
so you unlock the new islands with what we call the island rating, and that's a kind of universal kind of marker of the success of your park. So if you've got great dinosaurs and you've got a great safe facility, then you can progress, and you don't necessarily have to have done the missions. But
are you guys interested in a more sandbox, completely freeform approach for some players?
So obviously that's something that's been popular on previous games. So it is something that we're looking into, but we're just talking about the career part of the game.
But you guys are hip. You know what players want.
Well, players want many things.
They do. Has anything surprised you talking to people after playing the game?
So we've been very pleased with the response of people coming out. And you've got a whole range of people, from those that are following the structured gameplay and the story missions, to others just going, well, here's 60 live goat feeders and just letting them roam free.
It's weird, man.
Yeah. I've been pleasantly surprised with how many people want dinosaurs to get out and chase guests, because I was worried that like the dinosaurs would get out and it would ruin people's parks and stuff.
Oh,
but
no.
They love it.
I got to the point where I just destroyed my entire fence and was basically trying to corral the dinosaurs to get out there and start eating folks. I'm sure you're going to see a lot of that stuff on Twitch and whatnot.
Yeah.
Speaking about like what players want, it's funny looking at Planet Coaster, and through the Steam Workshop, so many people added so many Jurassic Park elements to that game. Are you guys open to modding for this game?
So modding isn't something we're supporting on Jurassic World Evolution.
Ever?
Well, I've learned never to say never, but at the moment it's not part of the feature set. I mean, it is something we looked into because people are quite keen on that kind of thing, but it requires a whole extra level of sort of infrastructure and support that we're focusing on efforts on making this the best dinosaur game. And then we'll see where we go from there.
Interesting. Are you feeling confident you will have the assets in the game that people will want to play around with?
I'm sure there'll always be something that people want to play, but there'll certainly be for the gameplay that's in the game. There's everything that you need to support that, and there is quite a bit of variety to it there as well.
What about the old school fans?
Okay,
are they going to be happy playing the game in terms of the asset set?
Well, I mean, when we were working with Universal, they were quite keen that it was across the franchise.
Okay.
Obviously, it's a Jurassic World game, so the primary elements are Jurassic World based, but there's some bits and pieces, but can't tell you too much right now, I'm afraid.
But you're aiming to make fans smile, I'd imagine.
I mean, a good example of that is that Dr. Ian Malcolm is one of our core. In fact, he is the core character in the game.
Yeah.
And he spans, the full history. So, yes.
Yeah, I think. I don't know if it was quite oohs and ahs, but there's definitely buzz in the room in the first gameplay demo when you guys went into the helicopter for the first time. I don't think people were expecting that level of, or just even that viewpoint. Can you talk about building out that tech for making that happen?
Well, I mean, our engine's pretty versatile. We've made Elite Dangerous a galaxy-spanning sort of flight combat and trading and exploration game, and then obviously there's Planet Coaster, which is creative and sort of manageable and sort of amazing. And on this one, we wanted to make sure that you could have those little hero moments. And it's nice to see the different perspectives as well. So when you're in the Jeep, you see the brachiosaurs just sort of towering above you.
Yeah.
And it just brings a sort of level of immediacy to the game. But it also means you can jump in and just take part. And that's one of the key elements in the films, is that sort of, it's all going wrong, but they do something about it. So.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, here and there, people have been talking about, just at this event, about different ways that they've been playing. Do you guys have favorite little things that you can do in the game that maybe you wouldn't expect? I mean, I don't know if this is just best ways to F around, or just little details or ways you guys like to build your parks that you'd recommend for players to keep an open mind on?
Well, one that I tend to do, I don't know, it's just a bit of the obsessive side of me. I like to just build one creation lab, which is where your dinosaurs come out of. And then as soon as a dinosaur comes out that I want somewhere else, I'll tranquilize him and transport him. So that I save on creation labs, which is, I don't know, just me being like obsessive and stingy, I suppose. But that's kind of my thing. But then you often forget about the dinosaurs coming out, and they kind of run riot in the enclosure. But I don't know. I think that's the way I tend to play.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a silly thing going on in the office at the moment, where using the terraforming to build ramps. So you don't have to go through the gates, you just jump over the fence.
So you take the Jeep and just fly over the gate and just land on a dinosaur? I love that you guys included the horn in there as well. It's such a small detail, but that's the first thing players will think of getting in that Jeep. Like, I want to honk at my dinosaur.
Especially the smaller dinosaurs, they can get quite skittish around the vehicles.
That's awesome, man. What was the most challenging aspect of designing the game overall, Andrew? I mean, the early days, what did you beat your head against the desk on?
It's a tricky one. Think about that.
I think it's basically, I think for me it was trying to make sure that we had the level of management at all the different levels. So you've got the macro progression, you've got the detail looking after your guests, you're caring for the dinosaurs. It's bringing all those elements sort of together and balancing them out. And we're still working on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the balance is still going on now. We're trying to refine the balance between building your park out and chaos happening effectively.
Yeah.
So that's a challenge, but also that sort of contrast between sandbox mode of play and more traditional progression. That's something that you don't really see a lot in these types of games, and so trying to get that balance right and accommodate all types of players is something else as well that we had to try.
Yeah, that was quite.
Nail.
It wasn't so much a challenge, but it was quite exciting to be able to add some more sort of story and history to Jurassic World. So working through the divisions, you get to unlock this narrative. Find out a bit more about what's happening in the Jurassic universe.
So I was talking with the writer a bit about this process as well, with John, of just detailing those 5 islands for the first time. We've seen 2 of them, right? But beyond that, it's like it could be anything. So
don't forget, Nublar is not part of the archipelago. It's
is that
completely
right?
separate. The 5 deaths are 5 separate islands. Sorna's one of them, and then there's 4 others. But Nublar is not part of it. It's slightly separate away.
Well, let's get really nerdy here. What about the geography of these islands? Are you mapping out Nublar so that it has the areas and valleys from the films, and then Sorna trying to do the same?
We're not talking about Nublar at all at this event. So we've got something special for that, which I can't talk about.
Okay.
But we're certainly looking at what the landscapes of the islands were, and then looking at the bits that we want, and they become the sort of the buildable areas. So.
Yeah, it was interesting researching that, because there's been a lot of work online to sort of try and figure out more precisely the sort of topographies of these different islands via snapshots of maps that have been shown in the films and things like that. So we tried to pick up on all of this and talk to Universal about it as well, of course. And I mean, it's probably worth mentioning that our islands, our kind of playable areas, are sections of the islands. So they're not the entire island, but we've kind of taken a little area of the island to sort
So
of
with
work.
Sorna, the section you can play in, is that an area that we've seen in 2 or 3?
I'm sure we can.
Not sure about that.
Okay, interesting. How much can you vary island to island? Is it all I don't know, it's all in the same rough area of the world, or is it going to be this island is just pure lava?
Yeah, I mean, well, not lava. But each island will have its own mood and challenges. So we wanted each island to be different and to feel different when you progress. So you're at different times of day, there's different atmospherics, you've got different weather patterns, there's different topography, there's different sort of texture features.
Hang on, real quick, you said different time of day. So the rest of the islands, there's no day-night cycle, it's set in a
it's
different
set
thing?
because we're using that deliberately as a mood-setting thing. So one of the islands is actually set at night with lots of storms, and it has to be dangerous dinosaurs.
Yeah, it kind of keys in also
Yeah.
to some of the dinosaurs that you'll get at that point.
I think they'd be like a tourist looking at a brochure, like, which one do I go to? Let's go to the Jurassic Park that's set only at night and it's dangerous and stormy.
But it's not that particular island. Well, there is one island, Isla Muerta is actually the island of death, so
Yeah.
make of that what you will.
Intimidating names, don't
Yes.
they?
But in theory, like, you want tourists to come to all these islands?
So that's up to you and how you're playing it.
Okay.
So you have got the 3 divisions, and they kind of determine your reputation with them and what types of buildings you place.
Yeah.
Determine the makeup. So if you follow the science route, then you'll get lots of scientists walking around.
Yeah.
You generally always see a few tourists because if there's a dinosaur park going on somewhere, somebody's going to go and visit it.
Right. So I was thinking about, playing the game, different scenarios from the films that you can incorporate. I don't know if you guys have any deep cuts from films that you're just like, oh, this scenario can happen. Like, just super quick ones. Can kids visit the island?
No,
You can't torture kids.
We're
Okay.
basically aiming for kind of teen rating. So we will have dinosaurs killing people, but not children.
Okay.
So rather than make children immortal, we thought it would just make sense to.
Sure. Can you shoot flares?
We use flares.
So flares are used during the transport section. So
Oh,
when you
of
transport a
course.
dinosaur, flares are set off to say, here's the start location and here's the end location. So that's how we kind of get those in.
Can tourists get eaten while going to the bathroom?
They can get eaten.
Can a dinosaur rip a bathroom apart and eat them?
There isn't a bathroom as such because we have the buildings and yeah.
Okay, you can use your imagination
Yes.
though. Okay,
But
you're not
they
going with
will
that.
take down humans.
Okay.
And it's worth bearing in mind that even the herbivores can be very dangerous.
Oh,
Every
interesting.
single dinosaur is a danger to your guests
Yeah.
if it gets out.
So one of those interesting things in Jurassic World, and I assume it'll be carried through in some way in the ideas with Fallen Kingdom, is the idea of like brands and associating brands with dinosaurs and just the idea of just corporations taking over Jurassic Park. Did you guys toy with that idea of having Samsung as a building, or is that just a licensing nightmare?
We did. I think there is a lot of licensing complications with that.
Yeah.
And obviously we're always sort of interested in opportunities, but the focus for us was just making sure it was authentic to Jurassic World.
Of course.
Some of the missions and some of the contracts kind of play on the idea of kind of the commodification of dinosaurs to some extent. Like you might sort of loan a dinosaur out, for example, on one mission. So yeah, there's elements that touch on some of the things, like you say, that came into Jurassic World towards the end. We kind of dabble with those a little.
There's certainly some external influence going on.
Yeah.
So storms can tear stuff apart. Can you have like a Nedry-like figure in your park?
So not him specifically,
Right.
but staff can be problematic.
And to the point that they just become suicidal or just like open up all the gates on their own.
So one of the consequences for going down working with one particular division more than others is that although you'll gain benefits from working with them and they'll give you kind of loyalty bonuses and stuff, there's the risk of sabotage if you go too far down one route. So there's some interesting sabotage events that could occur.
In the Nedry's case, it was basically he was being underfunded.
Right.
So the tech division, although we don't have a tech division, but the concept is the same. So he gets shirty and decides, right,
Gotcha.
there's going to be a problem.
Yeah, for sure. Can a dinosaur swallow a cell phone?
No.
Okay.
Well,
all right.
Well, actually, that's not true, because people can have cell phones on them, and so if they swallow the person, they swallow the cell phone.
So, but it won't be ringing in their stomach like
No,
Jurassic Park 3?
no.
Okay, that's fine. So how much are you guys seeing this as like a platform moving into the future? Do you want to keep building on this for a long time instead of quickly
So,
breaking it out
I mean,
there?
at the moment with this particular event, we're not talking beyond the initial release, but I
Okay.
think Frontier has shown that with our titles before, we like to support things moving forwards.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on microtransactions? I'd imagine some fans are worried about a game like this.
I think Elite Dangerous is obviously a good example of the model we've taken. One thing that doesn't appeal to us for this game is the idea of loot boxes, that kind of thing. But certainly we'll see what evolves over the front. But we always like to make sure that there's value for money in what people are buying for the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, hey, do you have anything else to add? Have you had a favorite moment in this game's development you want to share? Most pivotal moment?
When we first revealed that we were doing it.
Oh, of course.
That was awesome. And no matter how many times I hear that T-Rex roar, it just sends shivers down my spine.
Was that a tough one to get right?
It's fantastic. The whole audio team, the whole team, across audio, animation, tech, design, it's just so many things coming together that It's just awesome.
On the audio front, this is such a tiny, nerdy detail, but when I was demolishing trees in the game, the sound of the trees being demolished sounds like a T-Rex, like walking through the woods. It's such a small detail, but it just, Do you guys, I guess I didn't hear it, but maybe it's because I didn't have electric fences, but do you have like the classic, just weird sound effects, like ooh, what it, and other weird, small noises that are in that original
you've got
film?
strange things going on, and you get the comms chatter, and there's a nice little touch where if you're in the 4x4, you get a local Spanish radio station from Costa Rica.
That's amazing. Wait, how do you program that?
But the audio team work wonders.
It's not a live radio station.
Oh man, that'd be so cool. That'd be so cool.
Yes, no, it's embedded in the game.
Sorry, Andrew, do you have a favorite moment from the game's development?
Well, in terms of playing the game, like storm chasing in the 4x4 is pretty awesome. When there's so later on in the game, we have tornadoes, so they'll rip through your park, and because your ranger team are also involved in repairing things as you things get demolished.
Yeah.
Kind of one of the best tactics is actually when you spotted a tornado and you've got time, drive after it with the 4x4 and like try and fix things on the way. And it was just a spectacular moment when I first did that.
Cool.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, trying to fly a helicopter near it is quite stressful as well.
What about, so in Fallen Kingdom we see that, volcanoes going off on Sorna. Are volcanoes going to be an issue in this game then?
So I think that...
For Fallen Kingdom, there's a volcano on
so I
Sorna?
really can't talk about Fallen Kingdom, I'm afraid, in any way, shape or form.
Sure, all right.
Sorry.
That's totally fine. Hey, guys, thank you so much for your time.
No
It
problem.
seems great, and we're looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Cheers.
All right, that's it. What a Jurassic World Evolution fiesta, everybody.
Best episode of all time, right?
I think this is the greatest episode of the Game Informer show of all time.
It was a real big show.
If you like it, and the fact that Jeff Goldblum was on the Game Informer show, please share it with a friend. That's all we ask.
Yeah.
Right, Jeff Cork?
Maybe he'll come back again.
We can only hope. He might write into next week's show. We have no idea.
Yeah.
But that's it for this episode of the Game Informer Show podcast. Be sure to tune in next time, which might be Friday, for a Ready Player One special bonus episode. Tune into that one. And until next time, we'll see ya. Bye, everybody.
Sure. Yeah. This is Ben Hansen from Game Informer, and I'm here with Jeff Goldblum.
Formerly of the Hansen brothers.
That's right.
You were spectacular in the. And isn't there a Hansen soda? Soda. The makers. You're the heir to these Hansen soda fortune.
I asked you not to bring it up, Jeff.
I'm sorry.
Please.
I apologize, Ben. Ben. Okay. Well, we could talk about all sorts of things. Anyway.
Absolutely. Cool. I think we're good.
Go out and
Yes?
get the stink blown off you, Ben.
Appreciate it.
Pick up on. I just need you to say, how does it feel to be back? And fantastic. And everything else is great.
Yeah. All right.
I may change my fantastic
Please do.
line, but.
How does it feel to be back working on the Jurassic Park franchise?
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're
Ask me
fine.
again.
Okay, you're fine. How does it feel to be back and working on the Jurassic Park franchise, man?
You call me man? Are you a jazz guy of some kind? Fantastic is the answer. May I say fantastic, man?
Yeah, daddy. Cool.
Yeah.
We good?
I like to see we
Great.
turned it into something fresh.
It's magical.
Like a fresh cooked. We don't put anything in Tupperware.